You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent Austen Show.
So here's the story this morning as we get this coming in. That is Carson Beck on the left. He's now at Miami, by the way, wearing a Georgia shirt. And that is Hannah Cavender, his girlfriend, apparently. Still together. Pretty wild. They had the On 3 headline says they had 3 vehicles stolen overnight in South Florida. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing with 3 vehicles? Oh, it's not only they have 3 vehicles. Cavender's SUV was found, but Beck's Mercedes and a Lamborghini remained missing. And I had heard that he had a Lamborghini.
$300,000.
All right, man. Like, why are we roaming around campus with a Lambo and a Mercedes? Do we need both? Like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, this is parenting in me here, A-Train. And I know you're not like a materialistic guy, but
I'm not. You
don't have to show it off. Like, what are we doing here? Blend in with the crowd. New school. You're the leader of the team. I don't like this. I think it's, first of all, I'm laughing at it because, life lesson. Good for you. I know you got a couple more million. It's probably not going to matter, but what are we doing with these kind of cars on campus down in Miami, man? You're not a pro athlete yet, or are you?
Oh, I mean, you're definitely a pro athlete because you're getting paid like you're a pro athlete. And listen, when I see this headline, like, obviously I think back to my college days and I'm like, okay, when I get my stipend of like, $1,500, I got to pay for rent, but then can I also maybe get like a PlayStation game? And then how much Spam and rice do I have to eat for the week to try to balance everything out? Yeah, it's the landscape's changed since I've been to college, obviously. But as Zach Miller once told me, when I asked him about his ostrich boots and how much they cost and obviously on an away game, he told me, Austin, you can't be buried with it, so you might as well spend it. And the way these athletes are getting paid, man, like, I'm not surprised. When you see Lamborghini, yeah, that comes with a status and everything, but Brent, they're making a lot of money, man. So do I agree with it? Absolutely not. But a lot of kind of like the music these days, kind of like the movies these days, kind of like the things on YouTube these days. I don't agree with everything, but I get some of it.
Hamby, is this a get off the lawn moment for me? Like, I really feel like this is a get off the lawn. Like, I've been trying to get somebody on the show for a little sponsor of Get Off My Lawn. I actually sent it to him this morning. Here's my get off my lawn moment. Like, what the hell?
Brent,
like, what are we doing?
But why do you care that he's got one more car than most? You said, oh, they have 3 cars. She has 1. He has 2.
He's 22. He doesn't need 2 cars.
He makes $4 million.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a house. He doesn't have a house to park the car in.
I'm sure this nice apartment complex or whatever has a nice parking garage that he can put it in.
At Coral Gables, yeah, man, I'm sure they're taking care of him.
Well, I mean, I do get that you can't just run around town with a Lamborghini, but do you need them both on campus? Like, put the other one in Jacksonville when you come back home. Like, when are you riding a Lamborghini around?
I don't get why that's that big of a deal. I kind of feel he got his car stolen. Like, that sucks.
Screw him. I'm glad he got his car stolen. Like, he shouldn't have 2 cars at 22 years old.
He's a millionaire.
He's not. Listen, I think this is a bigger deal. Maybe, again, I'll admit it. This is get off my lawn moment. But I think Austin agrees with me on some here. He's going to ride in the middle of this one in the passenger seat of the Lambo. But I think
I'm not going to fit in the Lambo, so no.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There. Yeah.
And let me ask you this: like, is this a red flag at all for NFL teams? Like, hey, we're going to pay this guy. And he's going to go out and buy cars.
No.
Brent, Joe Burrow bought a Batmobile that he can't even drive in public down
after
the street.
He went to a Super Bowl and landed a contract 4 years in, after he'd won a national title and all that. He wasn't rolling around into Cincinnati with a Lambo and a Mercedes.
Brent, listen, as a guy who's just spent the last 4 years at the University of Georgia, I'm just glad he's never caught a charge of driving by Clark County, the sheriff's office up there. Preach. I don't care. You can have as many cars as you want as long as you can drive them the right way. And apparently he's got a pretty squeaky clean driving record up there in Athens.
They know how to lock the door, I guess.
Hamby, Hamby, how much did he make to go to Miami?
I
Do you
mean,
know? Like,
so
what was the,
all
what was
of
like
the
final
NIL
payout?
projections are estimates, and they're all guesses. But it's probably between around $3 million.
I think it started off high, like 3.5, and then it got down to like 2.5. People said so. It's probably right around $2.5, $3 million. Yeah.
Okay, so he's making 2.5, 3 million. Obviously, I'm sure he had some saved up from when he played at Georgia as
Yeah.
well. So let's go ahead and call it 4.5, maybe 5 million. He's got in the bank
I would
right
take
now?
the over on
At
5.
least.
Well, you do have to pay
Okay,
taxes
so
on that now,
over.
so put some away.
Okay, so he has $5 million, and he's got a Lamborghini that's going to cost you what?
300.
How much? 300, and then was the other car that got stolen?
It was a Mercedes.
Let's call it 100.
So 100,000. Okay, so $400,000, and you're making 5 million or whatever. Like, I think that's okay, and I'm not sure how much is going to his. And listen, like I'm the last guy to try to celebrate all these lavish things, especially here in high school. But I get it, man. Like, or well, you're in college, but I get it because you're making a lot of money, and it's hard for us to comprehend that because when we went to college, yeah, we're trying to get by on spam and rice, but the whole landscape has changed now, and yeah, it sucks that his cars got stolen, and you can kind of laugh about it because okay, Lamborghini college kid gets stolen, like kind of serves you right, but at the same time, like I'm not going to sit here on the lawn and say like, like yeah, it still sucks, man. Like.
Yeah.
I think it sucks when anybody's car gets stolen.
Of course it sucks. I'm being a little dramatic, but
Okay.
I mean,
Listen, I think the
like
biggest
cars.
question too.
I like the
go
local
ahead.
guy, all right? I feel like I'm hammering the local guy. Yeah, I'm hammering the local guy here. I don't like this. I don't like what it, I don't feel like, I don't know. I want my leader of the football team. I want that guy in particular. I don't need him flashy and everything else. If Travis Hunter at the wide receiver position, we're bringing him in, we're paying him, and he wants to ride around in that, I feel different about the quarterback here, man. I don't think, I genuinely believe that. I don't think this is to a new place, to a new leader, new locker room, everything else. Like, I mean, again, I'm admitting this is get off my lawn moment. I get it. Like, that's probably really different. I don't mind admitting that, and obviously you guys disagree. But I do think there's something to that for Mario Cristobal or whoever else in Miami. Or if you're, I mean, NFL does feel different. I mean, Marcel Darius had 14 cars. I mean, they become car collectors at times when they make a lot of money. I just don't feel like you see that in college. I know they're all getting recruited with these fancy cars and they have them there when they arrive on campus for their official visits and everything else. But this just seems so unnecessary. It almost seems too flashy from a quarterback position. If you're Carson Beck, that leadership position is really what I'm getting at.
I mean, I think if you would have gave Baker Mayfield $8 million back in the day in college, we
probably already had that.
If you would, maybe if you would have gave Joe Burrow that much money
Manziel
back
had
in
him.
college. I mean, Manziel had it obviously, but Manziel was kind of a cautionary tale of, you got to stay focused on the task at hand and stay focused on football. And it didn't work out for him. But I think if you gave a lot of these quarterbacks that much money back when they were in college, you'd probably see the same thing. You'd probably see Lamborghinis. You'd probably see Maybachs. You'd probably see all these things just because that's just the way that it is. And I want to know how many times Carson Beck must have cold shouldered Brent for an interview or something, and where all this animosity is coming from. Because we sat here and celebrated Mac Jones like he was the second reincarnation of Trevor Lawrence coming to town. And then when Mac Jones rocked the turtleneck, I mean, me and Hamby felt a certain type of way about it. And Brent Martin was like, it's all good. No worries, man. That's my boy, Mac Jones. But Carson Beck gets one little Lambo, and we got to lambaste him for it. It makes zero sense to me, Brent.
Yeah, and listen, that's a fair take, and I'm probably going to get crushed for the take. I get it. I don't think I think Mac Jones is a good example. He's playing at Alabama. Now, he's not getting the NIL money and all that stuff, so nobody's a good example. It's really hard to relate. This is a new world, right? So it's a really new world in that, and hey, you tell me all the time. Not the money, it's what the money says. Well,
sure. What
the money says here about Carson Beck going out in 2 cars and flying around town and all this stuff, and look at me
around town.
Although, hey, wait a minute. When you're in a Lamborghini, it's like, look at me, right? That's what it says, right? Anybody
that's
who's
why you have it, yeah.
That's why you've got it, right? So again, it's what the money says. And to me, do I want the quarterback of my football team, the leader of my football team, the CEO of my football program at this day and age? Do I want him in that way? I don't know. You can. It's going to happen. I understand it. But I mean, again, I don't think these guys do this at the NFL level very much. So are we walking into a new world in that sense? Maybe. You bring up Joe Burrow. Burrow is as flashy as they come, right? He's got swag to him. He's got some of that. It takes him 4 or 5 years to get in the NFL. And he can back it up. And he did for 4 or 5 years before he bought that Batmobile just because he could, right? Like,
yeah, but like Burrow always had that attitude though, Brett. Like when he was like smoking the stogies after the national championship game, people had an issue with that. Like I always kind of felt like Joe Burrow had this aura about him that rubbed people the wrong way. And I think why Joe Burrow's aura.
I'm just checking if Brent knows that word. It's very popular now.
Probably not.
Hamby, I know more than you. And don't listen, Hamby, let's not start pretending like you're the coolest cat on the street here. You're like the oldest 24-year-old around.
Person on the show.
Right?
And even I agree that this isn't that big of a deal.
That's because he's a Georgia Bulldog and a Providence Stallion. That's why he runs deep with you.
Yeah, but Brett, and here's the thing, man, right? Like, and you're saying, what does the money say? It honestly, man, at the quarterback position, it doesn't really matter what the money says. But Hamby, go ahead and earmuff it for me real quick, because I don't want you to really hear this. Carson Beck has a lot to prove, though, Brent. Right? It doesn't matter how much money you're making. If you can't get it together and improve off last season, he's probably not going to go to the first round, right? Because he didn't do that well last year. He was touted as, maybe a Heisman front runner, definitely a first round draft pick.
Oh yeah.
Well, his playing showed that he wasn't that guy. So to me, it's not even really about, okay, you fall in love with the Lambos and everything, and maybe that will be a distraction. But if you can't get it together on the field, it'll be another cautionary tale then of, hey, man, you fell in love with the lifestyle, you fell in love with the Lambo, you fell in love with the money, but what are you doing on the field? Now, if Carson Beck comes out, balls out at Miami, is in the Heisman running, can maybe lead them to at least a college football playoff, maybe a national championship, then yeah, all of a sudden the Lambo and everything, it's not a big deal because you can back it up a la Joe Burrow. It's all going to come down to his playing ability at the end of the day. Like we can sit here and say, oh, that's a bad decision getting that Lambo, or you didn't lock it up. That's on you. And you should be questioning if you want that to be the face of your franchise going forward in the NFL. But if he backs it all up, and if he can will his team to a national championship, or at least in that playoff, Brent, there's not a team in the NFL that's going to care about, oh, the kid had a Lambo when he was young.
Yeah, listen, I understand some of this is a little like hyperbole and all that about cars, but I think you bring up a really good point, and I guess that's probably where I come from. Again, this is where the get off my lawn stuff comes in, almost from a parental standpoint. It's like, why are you putting expectations on you even more, right? Why are you adding to it even more? Like, I genuinely, when I said this and saw this, I was like, I really look at it from a parent. I don't want my kid on that the target list that much. You already are in that position. You already are with how much money you're making. You already are playing big time football, and now you're even adding to it even more. It's like, dude, blend in. Like, don't be part of this story. And leading off our show on February whatever, right, when it's the off season. And then listen, and I root for all the local kids. Like, it's totally the opposite of, I didn't get an interview with Carson Beck. It's not that. It's more, no, you root for all the local guys, right? Like, you really do. Like, I defended Carson a bunch throughout the last year when he wasn't playing great for Georgia, and people were hammering him. And I'm like, man, I love the way he's bouncing back and all this other stuff. Yeah, my kid was, quite frankly, and everybody was. But I think, you root for these guys, and I don't like the way this sets up, honestly. Like, I feel like there's a little wisdom in this that can say this doesn't set up great for all the things that you just said if it doesn't go well, right? That you look back on all these things. But, hey, you can also say, living your best life, man, enjoy it now. You live life to tell stories, and we'll see how it all goes, and now you just got to ball out and play well. There's a bigger part of this, too, guys, that I think is something that we need to at least, I don't know, be a little wary of, and that is that these guys are so high profile. And when you're taking pictures with car dealers and all these other things because of the NIL, do you become a target?
Did you see what just happened in the NFL, the news that came out last night?
Well, is that the whole story about the Kelce's and Mahomes and everybody, the stars' houses?
They finally found and arrested the people behind it, the Chilean gang.
So it was a gang, right? And I think they knew that right away. And listen, I'm not trying to be alarming here, but we did have that story the last couple of years. These guys are such celebrities. Do they realize that they are?
Apparently
right? Like, does Carson Beck realize how big of a star he is and how big of a target sometimes he could be, especially down in Miami when you are driving these things or when people know what you're making. And like, you have to be super mature to realize all that stuff. Like, he might just be an everyday dude, right? Living his life, but you like, and You got to be aware of all that in your surroundings. Just another thing to balance as a young man, as you're trying to find your way. So I genuinely do look at it like from that standpoint. And I do think it puts a little bit of a target on these guys. And I don't know what that means. I don't know how they have to navigate that. I don't know if that means more security down the road for some folks, like as you get bigger and bigger. Like in today's world, like Tebow was such a rock star, right? I mean, such a rock star. In today's world, like I think they already did give him a little bit of extra security at times where they went. But would he be like highly secured, like almost bodyguard with the amount of attention and people that were around him or trying to get to him in today's day and age? Would that be different than 15 years ago? I don't know the answer to that. I'm just curious, especially when people know what you're making, what you're driving, all these other things.
So, I mean, I think it would be different, Brent. And I think he would have to have security just because he was the most polarizing figure in college football. You know, I always say, like, I think like Johnny Football might have been like the most popular guy just because everyone wanted to party with him. Everybody was like,
yeah,
it was almost like the kind of like the Conor McGregor effect a little bit, right? But with Tim Tebow, when you brought religion into it, well, then you had two sides. You had the side that was like, yes, thank you for, you know, being a voice of things that I believe in, that I represent. Then you had the other side of people who weren't buying into the whole religion aspect that wanted to hate on Tim Tebow. So he was getting it from both sides. So I absolutely think that, yeah, he definitely would have had security because he was the most polarizing figure, maybe in all of sports in general.
Yeah, Hamby, it's a new world that we're navigating. It's a good thing those Georgia Bulldogs don't have multiple cars, though.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
this is
cool.
This is why I drive around in a Cadillac station wagon with 200,000 miles on it. You don't think those Chilean gang members are researching me? Oh man, former NFL player, UFC fighter. Let's go ahead and see what he's got. Let's go ahead and stop by the house real quick. A 2012 Cadillac station wagon? No. Let's just keep going, man.
That's why he only had that.
See where Trevor Lawrence lives. We're out of here. No.
That's why he only had that Bozard Ford for like 2 months.
I know. Bozard was getting worried, man. They're like, all right, we're going to need that bad boy back. Times are tough.
What a weird story. I mean, what a wild. Here's the deal, though, right? The reality is these guys are celebrities. These guys are TMZ guys. These guys are back page guys. And he's elevated. Listen, he should be able to date whoever he wants. I'm not criticizing that. Just that they're both stars, you know, at the collegiate level. This is Skeens and Livy Dunn.
Times 2.
So, but why don't you hear about, like, I don't know if I hear about that stuff. Like, I don't know, was Skeens doing that? Was he driving around in the Lamborghini and everything?
No, Skeens is a former military Air Force guy who just wants to throw the ball 100 miles an hour over the plate.
But he could. But he could do that, right?
I mean,
he could go get I guess that's the point. They could enjoy the celebrity even more, right? They could embrace the celebrity.
I mean, he couldn't have when he was in college. He didn't make anywhere near that kind of money. But now that he's in the pros, of course.
Well, yeah, and I do. It'll be interesting to see how this goes for some people. Like, I don't know what. my guess is Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter are driving around with pretty nice cars in Colorado, right? And again, that's fine.
Yeah, I think any legitimate college prospect has a really nice vehicle. And listen, we saw this last year with Texas when there's videos behind the scenes of the recruiting trip where they had like 25 Lambos lined up outside the stadium just to like show off, you know, orange and everything. Yeah, just to kind of show off and get the recruits excited, you know. So like, Brent, I'm with you, man, right? Like the landscape's changed so much. Like these kids are in college, fresh out of high school, and we're talking about Lamborghinis and exotic sports cars and all this luxury and lifestyle. But at the end of the day, I mean, we can sit here and blame the kids, and we will, and I get it, but you got to blame the universities. There's a lot of people to share the blame. You know, and it's almost like people are touting this lifestyle. Like, for instance, like with Texas, like, hey, man, come to Texas, get a Lamborghini. Like, this is what it's all about, you know? And to me, I mean, I think it ruins some of the love and the passion for the game, because then it becomes a business. And I understand this. And this is kind of me getting on the lawn right now, saying get off my lawn. But it's just the way that it is, Brent. And either, you know, you have to accept it or you can rebel against it, but it's not going anywhere.
And you don't even have any grass out there in Las Vegas. You just got rocks.
Yeah, we just got rocks, man.
The fact of the matter, though,
desert, but a beautiful blue sky.
Is in this specific situation, obviously Beck didn't do anything wrong.
No, he didn't.
Right? But 10 years ago, I feel like when I was listening to sports talk and radio and everything like that, whenever there was a college athlete that did something dumb, oh, man, he's a kid. He's a kid. You know, they got to grow up. They got to mature. There's a lot on their plate. Guess what? That doesn't happen anymore. We treat these guys as if they're pro athletes, and first of all, some of that is they should be, right, because they're making that kind of money and they're treated that way by their schools and their universities. But from a people perspective, we don't do this near as much as we used to do. All those guys, Manziel, I mean, you go down the list, Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, there was some people that would hammer, but he's a 20-year-old kid. He's a 20, and that word kid was always thrown in there. Whether you think of a 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old as a kid or not, that's up to you. I'm pretty much that same age, so I don't think so. But that's the way, I'm just saying, from my perspective, that's the way that the sports world always used to refer to these college athletes and big college athletes are, and we don't do that anymore. Also, Brent, your coffee intake is being questioned in the chat right now. You didn't get enough this morning. Delphonic also would like to mention that as someone who was eating lobster bisque on a yacht, you sound very hypocritical. So there's that as well.
And listen, that's awesome. I think my final point of this whole thing, guys, is yes, the landscape has changed. And yeah, like my college experience was a lot different. But I'll be the first one to tell you, if you would have put a couple $1,000,000 in my bank account, I wouldn't have made it to the NFL. Like, and not to say I would have spent a lot of lavish things, but I would have just been partying. And I mean, listen, this is coming from the guy speaking right now, and hopefully my mom's not listening. But the last stipend check that I got, probably is, but the last stipend check that I got, my junior year before I went home for the summer, I spent that stipend check on 10 kegs on the back 40, Brent, back home, and we're gonna have a giant party called Lane Stock, and we're gonna charge $10 a cup, all you can drink, and like that's where my stipend went to. Now, I wanted this to be a giant party. Like, hey, I'm coming back home to Wisconsin, let's celebrate. But I'm like, I can make some money on the side as well. Now, hopefully it's such a limitation, so I can't get sued or
entrepreneurial.
Stay away from me. Entrepreneurial, but like that's where my brain was at. Right, like I'm taking stipend checks, trying to have a giant kegger called Lane Stock and trying to make maybe a little extra money off it. Like that's what I would have done. You put $2 million in my bank account, it would have been all over, Brent. Yeah. Right. So I celebrate some of these kids, and I'm not saying everyone, because I think some of them, make foolish decisions and live a pretty fast lifestyle, and best of luck to you. But I celebrate anybody that can make a couple $1,000,000 and still have that drive to be a professional athlete and make it to the NFL. Because yeah, from where we're sitting and where our audience is sitting, it sounds so easy. Yeah, give me a couple $1,000,000 and I'll keep on playing, go to the NFL. It's hard to have that drive. Like my drive was stemmed on because, I didn't really have a lot. So like, hopefully I make it to the NFL, make some money and make a better living. College athletes don't have that right now. Some of them don't in football. So then where does the motivation comes from? So I actually celebrate some of these athletes, man, that are making all this money that can still stay focused enough at the task at hand to make the professionals.
Yeah, I think you're right. And by the way, I like what Hamby said too, and I've talked about this for decades now, and really you go back to the Jameis Winston stuff and everything else. I think these guys are forced to grow up fast, right? And they are, and by the way, that was before all this money and NIL. Now listen, what were they getting on the side, all that? Like to sit there and tell you that they weren't making any money and they didn't have a car or anything else, that's one thing, but we know the money. So now it's out there, and we know they're getting paid, and it's okay to get paid. That's a new world. But like the Jameis Winston stuff, I didn't defend it. I just said, hey, if you were in that kind of spotlight at 19 years old, how would you act? How would you handle it? Right? And I always just remember saying at the time, I think I was like 37 years old. I was like, I don't know if I'd handle it well at 37 years old. And you're right. Like, I mean, I can sit here and say the same thing. If you hand me a couple $1,000,000, what am I going to buy? Right? But that's the thing. It's really hard to navigate that world when you're 21, 22 years old. And that's just the nature of it right now. And what does the money say? And do you kind of bring some of this upon yourself, or you put yourself in that situation? Will you look back at it in 5 years and be like, I wouldn't have done that again, or something like that? Now, that's life. So that is part of life. But I do think we make these guys grow up so fast. And in general, by the way, but especially as your stardom goes up. At 19, 20, 21, 22, and it's really hard to navigate. I think it's hard to navigate parentally, quite frankly, because your parents have never been in that situation, right? I mean, this is money that they don't even know how to deal with potentially. Like that is a lot of stuff to just put on a kid and try to figure out. Hey, go figure it out. And so yeah, listen, I'm not sitting there blaming Carson Beck. I'm kind of, my initial reaction is seriously from a parent point of view, like, oof, this This sets
Yeah.
up not in a great way. And by the way, from a football point of view, I really do strongly believe, although nobody else does, and you can sit here and I've admitted, get off my lawn right from the jump, but I'm telling you, there are football people that probably don't like the idea of this from a leadership standpoint and everything else that goes into that position. If you're the coach, does it raise some red flags or concerns? I think it might to some football. Others might be like, hey, that's cool. This is the way it is now. No problem. He's got some swag. Other people might be like, all right, dude, make sure you're getting in here at 6 a.m. and still doing that. Are you doing all those things that make sure that you're the guy that and the reason we're paying you this? So we don't know everything going on day to day. So it's again, I don't love the fact. I'm not going to change from that. I don't love the fact on a lot of different levels that this dude's in Miami and he's making $4 million or $3 million and he's got 2 lavish cars. I think it would be way better if he had your car with 200,000 miles on it and the other one parked up here in Jacksonville for when he wants to go have some fun and show off the Lambo. Yeah. I think that would be better, honestly. But I know that's not everybody's world.
No, it's not everybody's world. And I think I'll give the benefit of the doubt to a lot of these college athletes, man, because I said it's about my son all the time, who's only 9 years old, getting ready to turn 10. Kids these days, man, they're so far ahead, I feel like, in terms of maturity and self-awareness. We can bring my son on the show and he can break down the Denver Broncos and then rip Brent Martin about the Jacksonville Jaguars offense and everything and absolutely school him. And it's insane. He's 9 years old. When I was 9 years old, dude, you put a camera in front of me, I freeze up. I can't handle that, and Brent, we say this all the time. When we talk to college or when we talk to high school athletes, on, whether it's basketball or football, you're interviewing these kids, you see they're just so far ahead of the game in terms of how they carry themselves, in terms of their self-awareness and everything. And I think that goes hand in hand now to NIL and getting all this money. Is a lot of these kids, I feel like, can actually handle it.
Yeah,
I'll be the first one to say, when I was in college, I probably couldn't handle it. So thank God I was making minimum stipend and trying to get by on Spam and Rice, because it made me who I am. If you would have threw $2 million in my bank account, man, I definitely wouldn't be here talking to you guys right now. I don't know what I'd be doing, honestly, but it probably wouldn't be anything good. So
hopefully you'd put it on Bitcoin at that time.
I want to put out one more thing on this this crime syndicate, mostly in the NFL and NBA. Also, I got to get your thoughts on this. So it's 7 guys came over from Chile, and it said, this article they would camp out behind. So they got Mahomes' house, they got Kelsey's house, they got Burrow's house, they got Clinton Portis' house in the NBA. Or not Clinton Portis, not the old running back. Bo Portis, excuse me, former Arkansas basketball player. They got Doncic's house for just one item, and they got somebody from the Bucks that we don't know, and somebody from the Grizzlies. Could be John Morant, but we don't know. Anyway, they would camp out, kind of get acclimated with their schedules behind their homes in the woods if they had it, and check out what the security teams of the house would do, their routine, their schedule, and all that. Apparently, they got $2 to $3 million worth of jewelry, merchandise, all this stuff. One of the big things that led to their arrest, at least one of them was seen taking a selfie in a Mahomes jersey. They couldn't avoid the clout and just not take a selfie.
Straight out of Home Alone.
They're taking selfies.
Is the issue, man. Oh my gosh. See, that's the one thing, right? It's not good enough just to make a big haul, get a couple $1 million worth of jewelry or whatever cars. You got to showcase it as well, right? It's funny, man. We live in a world now where being rich and being successful isn't enough. You have to showcase that as well, or else it doesn't even count. And that's one thing I'll never understand. I can come with college kids, I come with professional athletes and a lot of things. Joe Burrow, go buy your Batmobile for 20 million, whatever it was. I don't care. But the one thing I'll never understand, and the one thing I'll never budge on, is why do you feel the need to showcase it all the time? Whether it's professional athletes or just everyday people. If somebody gets a come up on something, the first thing I do is be hey, check out what I got. And maybe it's in celebration, maybe it's just saying, hey, look at how hard I worked. But to me, it comes across the wrong way. And to me, you can get arrested doing it if you do it the wrong way.
Yeah, that's interesting on the other side, because they had a good haul, to your point. So they were in that way and they still couldn't help themselves. I do listen, that story is fascinating. And I also think, listen, these guys make so much money. It's like, if you don't go buy a big house, what are you doing with the money? Like, it's a lot of money. Like, you don't need that much money unless you're going to go invest in other things and everything. And by the way, I'm fine with people making money. Never been a problem at all. Like, they make what they make. The NFL makes what they make. That's fine. They're a big reason why they should. No, I never. If you listen to the show, I'm never like, hey, Trevor's making $55 million. What the heck? No way. Like, that's a market value. Good for him. But what do you do with it, right? How do you invest it? How do you do all these things? Like, nobody knows how to handle that kind, or a few people know how to right away handle that kind of money. But the thing about it is now if they are going to be targets to this degree, I just don't think you think that way. I think many people think in a very innocent way. And that part you can't change, no matter what your bank account says. So when do you flip that to be like, man, I got to be really guarded. I got to be watch my every move. I've got to get my security team, not only to get my security team where I now feel comfortable, but I also have to make sure they mix up their schedules. Like, you're thinking about a lot of stuff and you're trying to be really good at football or basketball. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot. Yeah. It's really a lot to have a team of people. This is not an easy lifestyle, Austin, is what I always say, right? That's a lot to figure out. That's why your team becomes so big. And also you want to keep a tight circle at the same time, but you actually need a lot of help to figure it out. So it's pretty wild to be in those guys' positions. Maybe a little surprised that we hadn't seen something like this earlier that we saw out of that Chilean gang group over the last year or so. Delphonic, give Brent a couple million. He's buying the Bucky Mobile. I might do that. Hey, I do have one car-related thing. It's not really car-related. So, my wife, I catch her doing this sometimes. And don't let your mind wander, folks. This is just a very simple leaving the house exercise.
No, okay.
I don't know. I just had like a pause there while I was
sorry, Steph. Yeah.
She ain't listening. Anyway, she was going out to like a meeting this morning, and so she leaves at like 9:30. Well, like, I got to be on at 10. Like, I'm like literally gathering my things and stuff, but I think I was making a coffee. I had plenty of coffee this morning. And so I go outside, right? So I go outside to like put something in the car. And the garage door's down. And I'm like, what the hell? I was like, I'm literally like right behind you. Like, I opened the garage door and I saw her car driving away. And she does this like all the time. She loves the garage. She's so afraid of like the animals coming in the garage door. I mean, if you leave it open, like we have neighbors that leave the garage open all the time, but she is so afraid like there's going to be snakes in there and everything else in there.
Cats.
Like if you stay for like a minute, right? If you keep that thing. And I'm like, no wonder we've had to replace the garage door the most out of anything else in our house over the last 17 years because it's going up and down like constantly. That thing works harder than anything in Jacksonville. I'm like, why are we shutting the door so much? We are worried about the Lambo getting stolen. That's why.
There it is.
Yeah, it'll be a Matchbox car if you want that one inside. All right, let's take a break. Got the get off my lawn segment out of the way early. Got people throwing barbs at me. I figured this chat, our audience wouldn't like that take that I had. They're going to definitely side with you guys on the younger side. Get everybody a Lamborghini. Speaking of parking,
for everybody.
I've got more car stuff, by the way. I'm going to see if I can get this.
Sorry.
We have to have a training exercise in the Action News Jags parking lot.
Oh, boy.
That's still ahead. Plus, Matthew Driscoll will join us. Erica Lambert will join us. Big day at UNF with a doubleheader, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. River City Rumble Part 2 at UNF Arena. Let's go. Should be a good one tonight. And then there's the schedule here on the show. We've got Cup Date in a week with us. Fleet and Footy, if you like soccer, Stuart Weber and the Armada. We'll have that at 2 o'clock for an hour. And Young and Norvell coming up at 4 o'clock as we get closer and closer to March Madness. Check out what Patrick Young and Terry Norvell are saying about the Florida Gators. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, Nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Krasanovich's under-23 men's team.
They sit in the dying moments.
Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season.
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can save $500 on a Connecticut Premier Softener and get a free Connect Salt Monitor with purchase. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Here we go. Let's. How do we break these down? The Tony Boselli walk, the Tony Boselli smile, the Tony Boselli look. How are we treating this with Ian Cunningham and Josh Williams? Williams on the left, Cunningham on the right, and
no suit and tie for Tony.
No suit and tie for Tony. And actually, you look at Cunningham, and he's a little dressed down, which I appreciate. That's okay. What do we take away here, guys? Let's really dive in. Did you get Delphonics yesterday, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't. No, I didn't see what happened.
That was pretty funny. Delphonic is funny. We'll see if we get it in a little bit. But
yeah.
What do you listen, we like the transparency. Some people, I guess, were giving the Jags a hard time. Like, I didn't dive into it enough to know about the walks with Boselli. But, I mean, is there anything wrong with that?
Envy, can you go ahead and bring up the picture one more time here so I can break this down properly?
Yes.
He might be trying to get two pictures at once. Give him a moment.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Looks like this. Hey, I can't even keep a straight face breaking this
Don't
down.
worry. You're not on camera.
No, don't worry. I know. Literally looks like a stock photo of one of two things. Looks like a stock photo of somebody trying to close on a loan and it went through and they're all excited about it. Or looks like a stock photo from a still of a commercial that's like, what do you call it? Like Yaz, like those antidepressant commercials where everyone like, you have like Natasha Bedingfield playing in the background. It's like, yeah, celebrate whatever. Like, looks like a still from that as well. So either a bank loan approval or an antidepressant commercial still.
I wasn't going there. I was thinking more like whether you want to call Ralph Lauren or somebody else, right? Like whatever your clothing store is. It feels like a magazine catalog, doesn't it? Like a little bit.
Are these real pictures or are these AI? Honestly, I haven't really seen them. Okay, I got you.
Well,
okay.
That one's real. This one is not quite real.
What's going? Hey, Andy, I can't. Who is that? I can't see it.
That's Wah.
That's either Wah.
Oh no! Yeah, as it should be.
That's really good.
As it should be.
I mean,
I like
how much time do you have on your hands every day, Delphonic? That's what I want to really know.
I want to do we need to go up to wherever he lives in Georgia and do a 30 for 30 and just follow her around all day.
Yeah, man. I like that.
That was a classic one. So, listen, yeah. I didn't know people. I forget who somebody said it. Maybe it was you, Hamby. Somebody said like people were poking fun at the pictures, and I was like, well, why? I mean, what's the big deal? They're just walking down the hallway, I don't. Why? Why do we do this? Why do we do this? Why you guys are so judgy?
But is any
as
of
I just
weird, isn't it?
As I just did a whole half-hour segment on Carson Beck's cars.
I know, Brett, a little judgy. Listen, let me ask you guys this: through this entire GM cycle, has any other team done this?
That's what I was. Yeah, no. The answer is no.
Yeah. What do we?
So what?
Why must we?
Fans
why do we have to get the Costco guy? Fans love this, Brent. Like what? We really need the. We really need the auto. Yeah, we really need the visual proof that they met with Tony Boselli. Like, I can use my imagination. I know what it looks like. All right. I know what Tony Boselli looks like. I don't really know what the GMs look like because, well, it's general managers and I can honestly care less. But like, I could have used my imagination to say how these meetings went. I didn't need the ocular proof to help back it up because no other team in the NFL is doing this. But once again, Jaguars gonna jag that they got to be different, right? We have to have the Costco guys giving us 5 booms and we got to have, live shots of the GMs leaving the meetings.
Bro, it looks like he's the receptionist going to gather them from the parking lot to take them to the meeting. That he's not a part of it. He's just there to
get him handy.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I'm gonna just tell. I am not criticizing this after I've asked for transparency.
Bring it back one more time.
I've asked for transparency and they're doing it. You do you, Jags. This is fine.
Looks like the escort of a kid's spelling bee when the kid spells like the word wrong and they have to have like the chaperone like walk with him and try to inspire his confidence again. That's what you got Tony Boselli looking like right now. dudes just spelled the words wrong, and now that they have to go to the back room and get comforted. That's what it looks like. Congratulations, Jaguars! You made Tony Boselli look like a chaperone.
Hey, do you care about the order of this? Is always interesting to me. So they did a bunch of Liam Cohen. They did Liam Cohen interviews on a Tuesday night. Or late, remember? Schott had like an appearance here in Jacksonville that he was at, the Florida Forum, I think, and then they did it late into the night. And that was the virtual. And then they were doing a bunch of other virtuals after that. So, again, weird process, right? Ben Johnson didn't even go to a second interview. So, like, if you wanted Ben Johnson, did you have to, like, ask him right after he interviewed if you want the job? Like, if you really wanted him. So, we don't have a bunch of other interviews these guys are going to. They're going back home. They're going back to their other teams, et cetera, et cetera. But is the interview order? Does it have significance here? You had Josh Williams. You now have Ian Cunningham. You have 2 more to do today, and then you have another one tomorrow. I think is the way it's if I remember that correctly. But obviously, next couple of days you'll do 3 more. Let's just assume if social media is correct, and it feels like a wave of momentum for Ian Cunningham to be the favorite here. Just assume he's the favorite. Do you let him get out the door? Did they offer him the job? Did they move it forward, or is it just, hey, we're going to still gather, we'll let you know by Friday, or we'll be in touch with, obviously, when we're going to move on this? I wonder how open that is in that regard.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, you combine the rumors and everything. I don't think the order necessarily has anything to do with it, but I do feel like the guys that you covet more, you're going to interview first. That just seems
really
right to me. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I mean, you just want to do your due diligence, and I feel like you put the most energy up front, and then maybe by like the 4th, 5th interview, you're a little like, okay, like going through the motions again. So yeah, I would always say like the guys that you're interested in the most get interviewed first.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this before, kind of like the order of, listen, it can simply be Gladstone couldn't get here until Thursday, right? Like he had something going on.
How funny is it going to be though? How funny is it going to be when they interview Gladstone and there's no picture?
Well, I'm waiting to see
the Jaguars
that.
don't post one.
That was what I said, Jags. You do you, because now you made your bed, and it's okay by me. It's not okay by these guys. It's okay by me. But now you got to treat everybody the same way. You got to get the picture.
Yeah. So I can't wait for the wall one, because is he going to be met at the door? Because he's there every day anyway.
Hey, here's Watt's picture. Not very pleased. Not very pleased. That's the best. What a genius.
It is really funny. It's really funny. It's really
but
good.
Is,
like even if you're Ethan Waugh, like this is what I could he's got to laugh at this. Look at me saw this.
But I mean, it is kind of a crazy thing, right, Brent? Because like he's the interim general, so he's the guy right now. Like he is spearheading the draft and everything. He's doing his thing, like he has to.
Yeah,
and then he's watching these guys. No.
Yeah, I don't think they never. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they named him like interim. You know what I mean? I don't think they said that he was interim. I just think you assume that he's acting in that, his normal job. I mean, to me, that's why I like the whole thing about Trevor and stuff. Oh, they don't even have a GM. It's like, you can call 50 people in the building and ask about it. Like, you don't need somebody sitting in the GM spot to receive a phone call. And by the way, you're going to Tony Boselli, Shad Khan, and Liam Cohen for that. Like, there are plenty of people to go to about that if you were really going to do it. So, yeah, I don't know. Also, listen, do I think it's awkward? Absolutely. It's always awkward. I mean, you can have the same thing happen in our building today, right? Like where hey, listen, you're a finalist for X job, but also we've got other people rolling in. Is that awkward for the person that's a finalist that's sitting in the newsroom or whatever office you're at? Yeah, but it's kind of life, and you're in the mix, right? I mean, Ethan Waugh probably appreciates being in the mix. He's obviously made it to the finalist stage of this. And again, there's something, at least that I believe, and don't know. I'm not telling you that I know this. I just believe that because of the process of this, because of the familiarity of this, because he's not Trent Baalke, and you can link him to Trent Baalke all you want. I don't do that. Dale says it does say interim GM. Okay. I didn't realize that they actually named him interim GM. But I believe he's going to get a job. Like the fallback on this, I believe he's going to be part of this in Jacksonville. I really do, Ethan Waugh. Mm-hmm. I don't think on Friday, if he doesn't get the job, he's out the door. Now, he might be. This is just my thought. I think he's going to be a part of this. Well, therefore, if you're a part of this, that's a nice fallback to have, right? To be able to know, listen, I got a great opportunity here to get the job. I didn't even know this would exist 4 weeks ago because we thought Trent Baalke was going to be the guy. I think I can do this. I'm going to try to interview well. It's a great experience. All those things. And then if you don't get it, you don't get it, but you still, hey, you got the option to stay here, keep the family here. Like, that is my assumption of how this is going to go down. Listen, there are a lot of things that could go down. The other guy gets the choice, doesn't keep Ethan Waugh. Ethan Waugh gets the job. I don't think people want that right now, and I understand that, but he could get the job. He's one of the 5 finalists. Things could fall through with maybe your top guy, Ian Cunningham, or maybe it's Gladstone. You're like, and they go back. Well, then Ethan Waugh was second on the list or third on the list. Maybe that's it. Like, there are a lot of different ways this thing can play out. So, I don't know if it's that awkward, Austin. Now, what I don't know, if he's sitting there in the interviews, if he is the interim GM, like, I would assume he's not in the interviews.
Can't be. No, there's no way. Conflict of interest. Can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that. So, but anyway, it's a fascinating process because they're playing against themselves, but they're also playing against the clock here. So, like we said yesterday, leverage is on the Jags side. They're not playing against anybody else for this job, other than the teams that these guys already are in or with. But they are playing against the clock a little bit now with the NFL Combine. So it's like, we're going to have to move on. Some of that fly on the wall transparency is, hey, so you know, like, we need somebody in place by Sunday. But the candidate knows that too, right? So, I know Zach Ford. I figured somebody would bring this up. Todd Wash was in on DC interviews when he was getting the defensive coordinator job, right? And I knew somebody. Is that different? I don't know. Is that different than the GM part? Keep in mind, Ethan Waugh did a lot of the interviewing during the head coach process. Like, he was in on some of that. And then obviously when Baalke was let go, he was in on that. That doesn't make him in on this part. And I'll dig a little deeper on that. I just didn't think about it until today as much. But anyway, I think the fact that Cunningham feels like a favorite, he feels like the Vegas favorite in so many respects, I think has significance that he was in the building yesterday. And now you got a couple more days, and it's like, all right, they just sitting there waiting for the call. Is there a leverage play in here with the agent and everything else? Like, it's fascinating how quick this moves and what could stymie it a little bit. I think there is possibility for a little bit of a roadblock still based on how you see it going. And again, once they offer that job, let's just assume it's Cunningham. We'll just say it for the moment. It's Cunningham. I think the leverage then goes on his side a little bit because he knows the Jags are against the clock a little. And so, and he's already got a good job and a good place, and he's fine where he is, and maybe he looks at it that way too, where he doesn't need this job. So it'll be interesting to see in any of these behind closed doors conversations that if the kind of the leverage shifts from one side to another, I think that part's kind of fascinating.
Well, and also too, I mean, hey, if you're the Jaguars social media team, let's just go all in, right? Like, once they get off the plane, let's get that action shot of them walking off the plane. Brent, are they flying coach or are they flying like private on Shad Khan's jet?
I would assume coming into this that you're flying on Shad Khan's jet.
Okay, so if that's the case, then yeah, let's get the social media team out there. As soon as they walk off the plane, let's get that action shot of, oh, look who just touched down in Jacksonville for the interview. And let's really ride this thing, Brent. Let's go.
I don't know if you're going to go that far. I wonder if they change up the pictures, though, to be more of a sit-down. Like, you guys are overplaying this. It's not that bad.
It's, once again, my only thing is it necessary? Like, in the old days, you used to just say, hey, we just finished up our interviews. And, like, I had a mental picture of what that looked like. Like, I don't need the reinforcement. But like I said, if you want to go all in, then get him coming off the plane, get him looking off in the sun a little bit. Like, let's up this thing and let's set ourselves apart from every other team in the NFL.
All right. Hey, I got a couple things. We know we'll wait and see on the interview stuff, and we'll address the cataloging and also the, hey, you got a great loan for a good interest rate pictures. It's still to come here over the next couple of days. I do like that
me
one.
And Tony? Yeah.
Hey, interest rates at 4.5%. That is actually a good one. I like that one. I see catalog, though, like totally a catalog. I feel like the old clothing
the credit
catalog.
Score was going to drop, but we're good. Let's go.
Which, by the way, I still get the catalogs. Isn't that crazy? Like, they're thin now. But like, if you go buy a shirt at like Untuck It, which we do a lot in our business, right? Because they're comfortable and you can wear them in different ways and stuff like that. So it's like all of a sudden I start getting like mailing. It's just like it's a very thin thing. But I can't believe how much businesses still do that. Like they send, like it feels like such a, I don't know, kind of a waste of money, but it must work. Because I throw them out.
Obviously, it still works. I mean, is the JCPenney catalog still a thing?
I don't think that's a thing. Is JCPenney still a thing?
Because that thing was
they're still
thick,
a thing.
Brent. That thing was like
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what that looks like.
King James Bible thick, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was huge.
Do you want to go dressed up or you want to go casual? That's what that picture certainly represented. Hey, we're going to have Matthew Driscoll jump in here in just a little bit, but we do still have, and I want to get to this because I think it's really interesting what's gone on with this Four Nations. And we've talked about it a lot in the last week.
Game day!
It's game day
tonight, Brent.
It's actually game day, and I think everybody knows about it. Like, that is a big deal. And USA and Canada tonight at 8 o'clock. And here I have two questions to think about. We're not going to get to it right away, but two questions to think about. When was the last time a league did something that worked so well, where they made a change and it worked so well? Like, this is an absolute home run in so many ways. And I do think there are some examples, but I actually think the leagues that have changed some things would be more surprising than, let's just say, like the NFL, who's so successful. And I'm not sure their moves have worked as swimmingly as this one or some other things that at least I have in mind. The other one is the guys here are referencing, apparently the story at the Team USA locker room is Miracle on Ice is constantly playing. And so they're playing that up. And so my thought was, does anybody still use a speech or two from the sports world that's famous still today? Because this is crazy to me that 45 years later, they're still like locked into the Miracle on Ice to pump them up. And I know it's made into a movie for the next generation and everything else, but I thought that was pretty wild. Like the Vince Lombardi's speech or Newt Rockney's speech. Do we still say those things in sports that still resonate to fire up today's athlete? So think about it a little bit. We'll get to it a little bit later on in the show. Matthew Driscoll up next, River City Rumble tonight, UNFOspreys.com for tickets. Should be a fun one. JU and UNF for positioning in the ASUN tournament that's about to happen as we flip the calendar to March. The coach joins us next.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jags Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, you can take 10% off any water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Here on Spring Sports Media Day on Action Sports Jax.
It's an opportunity, an education beyond the classroom and the sports arena. Life skills, testing skills, social skills. It's called High School 912, a program focused on maximizing the growth of students in academics, sports, and life. And here's your chance to get involved. If you're a local business, or if you just want to make a donation to help support programs like ACT and SAT boot camps, career days, Leadership Academy, Financial Literacy Academy, and so much more.
All right, another Nice High School Panther, Jack Cole.
High School 912 supports and hosts high school sporting events and several media days throughout the year. For more information on how you can get involved, visit jaxhighschool912.com.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to String Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to String Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, the last time UNF and JU met, my goodness, the Ospreys got off to a hot start. They were hitting threes from everywhere, and they were falling. They built a big lead, 25 points, and then the Dolphins, you kind of knew it in this kind of game. They would come back at Swisher Gymnasium, and they did, and actually had a chance late, but the Ospreys were able to hold off the late rally and win the River City Rumble Part 1. Now we get Part 2 tonight at 8 o'clock, part of a doubleheader on the campus of the University of North Florida. UNF Arena, the place to be. 5 o'clock, women's game. 8 o'clock, the JU Dolphins and the UNF Ospreys go to work. And, hey, looks like we might have – we got the audio, Matthew Driscoll. We might need just the audio, Hamby, because
test, 1, 2, 1,
we
2,
got you, Coach. We got you. But
hey, a little bit. There you go. That's a better picture. Yeah.
That's a good picture right there.
There you go.
That picture is that's when you're guarding a cur like a rondo, right? That's when you're guarding a non-shooter and the guy's busting your face and you're like, what are we doing? By the way, going back to your what quotes are used and all those kind of things, the legs feed the wolves. I think one of the most famous from Herb Brooks. I think a lot of us still throw that around. I think a lot of Lombardi stuff is still thrown around. I tell you what's thrown around a lot is the Pacino, the 6 inches in front of your face. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's the difference between winning and losing, between living and dying, right?
Yeah.
And so, those, I think those, that's a movie, but it's a non-athlete, but it's a movie scenario. I think the other one too a lot is Tyson, like the one where Tyson's walking in the ring and he's talking about how scared he is and just my opponent this and this and this, and then he walks in the ring and then he just amplifies now what he's thinking, and then once the guy doesn't look at him, he knows he's broken him, and then he just It's like a 30, 45 second deal. That's a good one. We actually showed the guys, because sometimes, in Austin, I don't know how you feel about this, but I'd be curious now that I just brought it up. Like, people like guys that, that cuss and do all that stuff, because that means you're whatever. However, Brent did that nice special on us about being punished for that. That doesn't mean we don't. I have, and I've been punished. But my point is, we did a thing the other day, and we showed him, Rick Pitino in the locker room and talking exactly about what we were talking about adversity and about mental toughness and about, like, he even said, like, in the St. John's, everybody's got different kind of clientele, so to speak. And he said to the guys, I don't know, how you were raised or who brought you guys up and where's our mental toughness and this basketball, forget basketball. What about life? And he goes on, but he's cussing at him. And we showed it. It's about a 45-second clip. We showed it to the guys before the Stetson scout the other night. And like guys, like, he's a Hall of Fame coach. Like, it isn't like we're making this stuff up. Like, we're trying to explain to you, like, it's way bigger than you ever imagine. And so, is that something that gets you going? Is that it's not only the way it's because even in every given Sunday, Pacino's cussing up a storm in that one too. Is that part of it, the delivery?
Yeah, I don't know. He went in and out. I don't know if he heard all that, but I think Coach is asking you, Austin, like the how it's delivered, whether it is cussing and emphatic like that, and or how it's delivered. Does it get you fired up? Before a fight, it looks like we're having a little bit of issue with Austin. He's trying to figure it out there in Las Vegas. That's a really good question, though, Coach. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think back. Like, even if I've heard, even when I played, just at high school and college level, if I'm like, all right, do you get a little bit more fired up? Or if you're in the gym, if somebody's yelling at you. Like, I've never been big on that. Like, I've never been like, hey, you got to yell to get me motivated. I don't think. But I do understand the sense of urgency behind some of that, that does come through and catches your attention. Like, I actually think it's really good. It would be really loud and emphatic for you, right? Because you don't swear. If you really wanted to get the attention of your crew, right?
Correct. That's correct.
Because they would hear something that they don't usually hear, and like, whoa!
No, I've done, and I had actually that happened, probably about 6 weeks ago, and you could see the look on their face. They were like, "Oh my goodness!" And I don't know if it was like, "Oh my goodness, we've caused Coach to do that," or if it was, "Oh my goodness, whatever." And so, I was so at whatever point that is. But I would say this too, like, for instance, when you're talking about Samuel and you're talking about David versus Goliath, I don't believe in the little guy beating the big guy. I believe in David being an 18 or 19-year-old was uberly prepared for what was in front of him. And when they gave him the armor to wear, he didn't want the armor because that's not what I don't need anything else. Like, I need the club, because you know what I've been doing every single day? I've been protecting my father's sheep. And when lions come, they come to take the sheep. And when they take the sheep, I'm going to get it back. And you know how I get it back? I go up and grab it by its neck. I don't take my club and club it. I grab it by its neck. And the way I read that, you know what I look at that? I say to myself, listen, Joker, like, you ain't taking this from us. This is my sheep. So put it down. And then when he does, then I club him. So that's kind of how I would do the David and Goliath, because I think it's way more than David versus Goliath.
By the way, like, I really like that. And does that resonate? I mean, I'm sure some of that resonates. And I'm going to, like, segue this into, do you guys as a basketball team right now need a little bit more of that? Do you need to, for the old saying of step on the throat? You guys have had big leads in games. JU, of course, and they almost came back. You held them off. But recently, you're up by 17, lost. Austin P earlier this year, up by 16, lost that game. Are you guys missing a little bit of that? Do you need a little bit of that? Can you explain some of that?
So I'm glad you brought that up. So when we played in a game earlier, that we got to play this team again, it says in Psalms, we can crush an army. We have hands trained for the battle. We chased our enemies. We caught them. We did not stop until they were conquered. We struck them down so they couldn't get up, And then it says this. Twice it says this in the book I like to read. It's got 66 chapters. We placed our foot on their neck. And so, we talk about that. And I talk to the guys all the time, just like on Central Arkansas on Saturday. Like, bro, at what point is this going to be like, is it like at some point, and then I'll give you another good one is Georgia. Georgia had taken a lead on us. We had just beaten South Carolina. We just beat Georgia Tech. And I came in, I said, guys, listen, it was like 24. And I said, listen, just so y'all know, they're about ready to beat us by 40 plus because they get a better net ranking if they beat us by more than 40. They're about ready to just annihilate us. And next thing you know, we cut it to 10 with a chance to go to 7. And so, I don't know. Over the years, the guys can't stand this. When I say, you know what? I'm not sure you guys really care. I don't know if you care or as passionate as we are. I don't know. And they get pissed off. The next thing you know, we come back and we win or whatever. So sometimes you got to know which buttons to switch. And, you're like a puppet master. You're just pulling strings until you figure. And every team's so different. And with this team specifically, Brent, to answer your question, it's not just every team. It's like every night. Every night. And the other night against Stetson, remember, we were up Stetson the other night. So the last game we were up big, and we had to go to overtime, and we won a pillow fight 101 to 100. Mm-hmm. We're up big the other night, and next thing you know, here they come. And I told them, I got in the huddle. It was the 8-minute mark. And I got in the huddle, and I said, you know what? Your problem is we're so weak mentally that we think, oh, here it comes again. Oh, here it comes again. And I said, are you serious? Especially after what we watched Patino the night before. And I said, are you serious? Like, you're going to allow this to this is going to transfer from one to another, and you're going to allow this transition to happen? Like, at some point, guys, for you, for your life, for the betterment of your world moving forward, we've got to get over this and be tougher mentally and not let them. We cannot wilt anymore. No wilting. So.
Well, you actually lend right into a question that I had coming up. I mean, how's the confidence of this basketball team right now?
Great.
Because they feel like they can play with anybody, right?
Anybody.
They can beat anybody, but then you do have these moments where that could shake and you squeeze the rock a little bit tighter, right? And things like that. I mean, are you concerned about that staying with them, or what's it look like to overcome that or not feel that?
So the last two teams we held to 70.5, 70 and 71. So the thing that we were struggling with the most, we're actually doing it now at the level that's it's better on the scale than the first. Actually, it's second best. JU right now is second best, but in the last two games, our defense is second best in the league. And so that part, I told the guys this yesterday. We were standing out there, our staff was standing out there, and we told the guys, just so y'all know, y'all need to be proud of what you just done, because it doesn't matter, because yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. Today's the greatest day we have. Tomorrow's worries are tomorrow's worries. What you've done, you should be proud of what you've done. And we haven't even been good on offense. We haven't even been good. Like, I watched the JU game last night over there when we played them over there. We missed so many open shots and layups, it wasn't even funny. But my point is, if you defend, we shot 41% on the road, 27 from 3, 60 from the line, and we won. Because we out-rebounded them and we out-defended them. And I said, you got to be proud because of that. Like, that's where we have to be proud and then take the next step.
What
you
Matthew
got me
Driscoll?
fired up.
I love it.
Well,
that's okay. Matt, don't apologize for that. Matthew Driscoll with us.
I got a great shirt on. I think I'm sweating.
I
want to keep this on because of the branding. I want to do the best for the institution. But
yeah, well, I don't know if the shot's still like fuzzy. We can't see it, but we'll get that Osprey logo out there for you too. Hey, why is JU so good in your opinion this year? They're really having a nice season. They're tough. They've got a lot of veterans. I know. Man, McCray can score it, can't he? So they've got that. Like, what in your opinion makes them so difficult?
Well, first of all, I'm glad you asked this question, because what few people understand at this level is it's really about what you said. Like, they got guys that have played, like their top 4 scorers have played like 330, let's say, Division I games. Florida Gulf Coast over 400, Lipscomb over 500, EKU almost 300 and change. North Alabama was in first place, almost 400. And so Old has always done well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that we're really, really trying to help our guys understand and overcome. When you got 2 sophomores and a freshman as your top 4 scorers, and then the other guy, Liam Murphy, he's a 5th-year player that's only played like 61 games in his college career. And that's usually a sophomore.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when you look at this and you look at us and you look at them, I mean, Zimmy's been around forever. And he played at Dayton, so obviously Anthony Grant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously McCray played at Wake Forest, so here's a high-level guy. He's been in the same system with Bell. You take a guy like Payne. Remember now, Payne's a junior, and he played at Incarnate Word and was freshman of the year and did all these things, and now second year at JU. So he's a very, very seasoned guy, so to speak. Spence is a seasoned guy, and so I know Aries and Jackson, those guys are freshmen, but when you look at our league and you look at the top 4 scores and like, that's why, Jordan's done a really good job of putting the pieces together, and sort of like, well, not like us, but sort of like, you would try to bring some freshmen in that can do yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. And then the other issue on the flip side is this, and no disrespect to anybody, but our freshmen's really, really talented, and our 2 sophomores are really, really talented, and so. The way we develop guys and the way we move forward with guys, it's just something that's that you're going to have to get used to. And so, to their credit, they're very physical. They rebound the ball at a high level. They're the number 1 I don't know if you know this. They're the number 1 3-point percentage team in the league.
Which is wild because they don't take a bunch, obviously, right?
But that's the answer.
Yeah.
That's the answer. Now our guys can all shoot them, so to speak. And so our biggest problem is, good, better, best, never let the rest of your good's better and your better's best. Like, that's something we're always trying to coach them through. But, so they're right guys. The guys who only take them.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing, a double-edged sword. And because they play with the pace that they play with and they defend and rebound, they're always in games. And so they're always in, our game at home was a 1-possession game. Florida Gulf Coast at home was a 1-possession game. I don't know the rest of their schedule. I'm just talking about from my own mind. Remember, I think Lipscomb, they were down big at the half and they cut it to a 1-possession game in the second half. And so, they're older. They're very, very physical. They're very athletic. And so that's what makes them, who they were. And they finished 10th last year.
Yeah, they got a good squad, and they're playing good basketball overall. And listen, you guys have clinched. You're in, but how important now is this next week and a half and seeding and where you want to go? I mean, do you have something in mind where you want to get to in the conference? Land at a certain seed to feel good.
Yeah. So number 1, we tell our guys all the time, winning a championship only has one entity. And people have no clue about it. If you took a survey and you said, okay, when you get to the tournament, like, how do you win the championship? And people have in my opinion, very few people, let me say it that, have very few understanding. You can't win a championship until you win the first game. And so winning the first game, what does it look like? Do you want to be a 9-10 or a 7-8 playing on a Sunday, playing on the court where you're going to play on Monday? Or do we want to continue to chip away, and next thing you know, you could possibly fall in that 5-6 realm, and then next thing you know, you're not playing on Sunday, you're playing on Monday, and you're not playing a second night back-to-back, you're playing on a like last year when we went to Austin Peay, we tied for 4th place, but we ended up being the 5 seed because they had beaten us head to head. That's the other thing, Brent, that, all those things that we talk about, which game keeps you in, which game keeps you out. Well, that's over because we know we're in. Well, which game keeps you home, which game puts you on the road. And so how do we do that, what that looks like. And so I'm never going to, I don't like never, but I'm not going to fall off what I believe in, which is just, win the day and just take care of today. And let's be as great as we can be. Let me tell you a good story, Brent, when we close this. And I think this resonates a lot. I think this resonates with your own children. I think this resonates with Austen and his preparation. I think this resonates with a lot of things. Do you agree? I don't want to say that because I don't want to talk you into something. Answer this question. Have you forced, whatever you want to call it, your own children to do some things that they don't want to do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So
probably not enough, but yes.
A couple weeks ago, we had one of our players is the president of all the athletes on campus. And one of their pushes every year is to make Valentine's Day cards for a retirement center. So the bag had sat in the locker room for, let's say, 10 days. And I would see it and look in it and see it and look in it and see it and look in it. And there's no cards done. So I thought, you know what? Let me help out a little bit. So one day before practice, I got with the assistants and I said, listen, the first 10 minutes of practice, we're going to go sit at the tables. And it's not that the guys don't want to do it. It's not that the guys don't want to be nice people. It's just that sometimes we don't understand. So we're forced to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we force them to do it. And they make some incredible cards, stickers and pictures and markers, and almost like in my brain, Brent, what do you think I was thinking?
These guys are good artists.
No, I was thinking, oh, these jokers are going to try to drag this out as long as they can, because they know I don't like to, if practice is set and something goes over, I just want to be done. So I'm like, okay, but these jokers started getting into it, and they're laughing and they're talking to each other and they're laughing and they're saying, and then I look at them and they've written sentences, not like happy Valentine, sticker, I'm done. And I thought, so I went up to one of the guys, I'm not going to tell you who, and I said, let me tell you something. And then I told the whole team this afterwards. Let me tell you something. Someone is going to get your card, and it might be the last Valentine's Day card they ever receive. It's just life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to be 60, you look at things differently, because my in-laws are 80, which is awesome. Stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and I'm like, listen, you guys just have no clue what you just done, but hopefully you guys embrace it, whatever. We're going to play Stetson. We're going into the locker room to do the pregame scout. Coach gets an email from a financial advisor. Hey, listen, you don't know me, but I think it's really important that you know my client, Valentine's Day is one of the worst days in her life. And he didn't say why, but we can all assume why. However, a tearful day turned into a day of joys and smiles when she got a Valentine's Day card from one of your athletes, right? And so it's not just men's basketball. It's women's basketball. I'm not even going to say the teams. It's every single team.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the athletes go and deliver them by hand. And the person wrote, you have no idea. So what I did is I Googled the person and I pulled up their picture and I showed them what they look like and their statistics. And, of course, we're going to go visit her after the season and have a little fun with her. But he said at the very end, please let your guys know the difference they can make in someone's life. And I shared that with the guys. And I'm like, guys, sometimes you just have to, you have to do things you technically maybe you don't want to do, or some things that we say and you don't understand why. But because we're saying it, like, this is what you got to do in order to be successful. And so it's just, my point to you is, sometimes we have to do things. I mean, Austin doesn't want to get up every day and run and eat certain foods and not have this. And, he's walking on the cement there going inside and he's tippy-toeing because he doesn't have anything on his feet and he doesn't want to burn his feet and he doesn't want to scratch his feet and get a laceration. And next thing you know, he's got some kind of disease growing inside him and like all the work. And now he foolishly gets hurt, right? So like we don't like. There's a lot of things we don't want to do, me included. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Well, it's a great story about what you guys do, and all athletes really around town and college campuses, and like I say a lot about the NFL. I acknowledge this a couple times during the year. This hasn't been fun sometimes for the Jags, and what they do in the community and what we see out there in the community, and but the college teams do that a lot. You guys do that a lot. It's more than just what you see out on the basketball court. Of course, we're going to see that tonight, and we're going to make room for Erica Lambert in just a little bit, Coach. But before we did two things before we do that. I want that you got to tell us everybody about this game because UNF Arena is different than Swisher. Have you been around to all the different parts on campus? The kid's going to be in the end zone tonight. There's going to be a good crowd tonight. We're going to be a great atmosphere tonight for a little bit of a later tip at 8:00. I mean, this is a fun one for everybody to attend if you've never been. And two good basketball teams, I think, going to put on quite a show. So hopefully it's a nice crowd tonight.
You never can argue that Florida, Georgia. I mean, it's Florida, Georgia. You can't ever argue that. I'm not like I might have been born yesterday, but not last night. But I think from an athletic college standpoint, I think our two games, because their situation is 1,500, 2,000 people packed in, right? And tonight it'll be 45 to 5,000. Again, packed in. And I'm going to tell you, like you want to know some things about this, that, and the other. Number one, it starts with the tailgating.
Oh yeah,
that's when it really starts. When players and parents, and we have a parent that puts together a group, and they actually tailgate as well too. So it starts out in the tailgating, and then they move their game up, their women's game up, so that more people that are not whatever
they come over.
And so like. It's always. I was just telling the guys in the locker room too. The red shirts just got done working out, and I'm like, my first year, like we weren't stellar, but we were tough and yada yada yada, and there was like 4,000 people here, and the year before they'd beaten us by like 40, and so it's really really a cool scenario, and because of our arena and how beautiful it is, and because of our hospitality on one end, students on the other end. The band and the cheer, the way in which the lighting and actually the sound in and of itself resonates in our arena. It's now about a 5,000 seat arena. It's just a whole nother level in here. And it's a great experience. It's an inexpensive entertainment. It's two good teams and purposeful. Like there's a lot of purpose in this game tonight as far as where we're going to end up and what we're going to do from that standpoint. So yes, it's a lot of fun. It's a cool event. Get here early. Hey, last quick story. So my high school coach, apparently he told my wife this story, but I don't remember it. Apparently when I was a sophomore, I told him I was better than a senior. And he told my wife, what he told me, and I don't remember it, but I could see myself saying that, but I don't remember it. But anyways, he's 80 something now. He comes to like 3 games a year because he lives in near Melbourne. Begins with an S. Satellite. He lives in Satellite in the winter. But he just texted me and said, "Hey, I need 2 more tickets." And I said, "Oh, what for?" And he said, "I got a surprise coming for you." I said, "Well, I don't like surprises." So I'm like, what's going on? He said, Joey Greer. So Joey Greer. In 1978, I was 14, led our high school team to the state championship as a senior. I was on a bus for 3.5 hours in the middle aisle, which you never could do nowadays, laying on the floor because, just everybody wanted to go to the game, right? And I idolized him. He walked with a little bit of a pigeon toe, so I thought you probably need to have a pigeon toe. So I would try to walk like him, shoot like him, like all that stuff, right? So when we get here, it was our first championship year. I haven't talked to Joey literally physically in 40 plus years, but he sent me an email, and he said, "Coach, I knew you'd always be a coach," and I never knew this. Like I never even remembered this. And I said, and he said in the email, when I played for your dad, my dad used to coach the Catholic grade school team. So he'd deliver bread 4 o'clock in the morning till 3. He'd coach the team. And apparently I was his manager. And I would give the guys towels and waters. And then, of course, every time out, I'd be out there shooting. And apparently I did that, which I remember going, but I don't remember all that. And he said, I knew you were going to be a coach just by the way you talked and you saw things and yada, yada, yada. So I guess to your point, it is a great game and a great crowd and all that kind of stuff. And as you get older, it's got a lot more to it.
That's pretty cool. Really, I'm glad, Austin. That's a great story. Maybe we'll share that one on the ESPN Plus broadcast tonight. We have to find a shot of Joey Greer.
He'll be right there in the front row with Carey. So.
All right, good deal. We're going to have to find him. The Austin's back in here, and really, see, Austin will be he likes you a lot, Coach. Like he really likes. He missed the last couple minutes because he was trying to figure out his audio and stuff, and so he's probably bummed about that. But see, he'll be really nice to you. But if there was a picture of me on the screen looking like this, he would be all over it. Like, what year was this picture, and how baggy are those pants? Is really I want what Austin to break down here.
So this is our first championship year. This is 2015.
That was 2015.
Those pants are borderline MC Hammer pants. I still have them. I'm not allowed to wear pleats anymore because Carey's defected me from pleats. So now I have Under Armour pants that I have to wear. The belt actually, back then we were Nike, is that I wore that belt my whole entire career until we became Under Armour. And now I've worn the same belt since then. And like my legs are so thin and those pants are so big, I'm pretty sure Austin and I could fit in them. It's just,
hey, I'm not Coach, I'm not gonna hate on it too bad, man, because I just saw Kendrick wearing some bell bottoms for the Super Bowl halftime show. So I mean, I'm not hating on the style at all, man. You look good.
Let's go.
Let's go, man. You're in pretty good company.
Hey, by the way, how about me singing you tiptoe? You know, you look like.
What's that?
Kung Fu. Remember when he used to carry the hot pan over the coals, and he used to.
Are you talking about David?
Yes.
Carradine?
Yes.
Yeah. I got you. Yep.
Patience.
I'll take it.
Patience.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
He'll need some of that. Yeah. Coach, he's 9 days away from a big fight, March 1st in Vegas. That's why he's out there.
Hey, Austin, while you got time.
Yeah.
1925, roughly. I'm going to send it to Brent.
Okay.
There was a Chinese. Back then, the Chinese couldn't put stuff out because it was if it was too borderline, whatever, they would cut it off. Sure, and it's called thick face black heart. And it's basically what you need because it talks about being ruthless. And it talks about, I know my opponent's trained and I know I've trained. And it doesn't matter and it doesn't matter if he's hurting in weakness, if he's making noises and sounds of being hurt. It doesn't matter. What matters is what Brent said earlier, that I step on his neck and I understand at the end of the day, it's about winning. And it's about having a thick face and not worrying about what's coming at you, social media, what's coming at you and all, and having a black heart to know I'm going to be ruthless. Not because I'm a bad human being, because this is what I've been called to do.
Because you have to.
And so it's real. It's a Chinese wrestling. I've had it since 1996. How about that? You talk about
amazing.
Yeah, you talk about that's 30 years almost. So, anyways, you think about that thick face, black heart.
I will.
It's Bruce Lee. It's the pictures of Bruce Lee, and it's really good. It's really good. All right, we got to go. Eric
Awesome, Coach.
Coming up.
Yeah, Coach. Good luck tonight. Appreciate you, man.
Love you guys. Thank you.
All right, that's Matthew Driscoll tonight, 8:00. By the way. UNFospreys.com. Look it up for tickets. Again, got great entertainment in town tonight with JU and UNF playing, and it starts with a 5 o'clock women's basketball game as well. He's unbelievable.
Hey, Brent, can we get some subtitles next time? Because I'm literally just chilling in the lobby, just chilling in purgatory. I see Coach Driscoll be all animated, and I can't hear a single word.
Yeah,
and I'm like, man, I bet he's dropping some gold right now, and I can't hear anything. So I'll have to go back.
He was.
Oh, I'm sure he was.
Yeah, he was.
It looked like he was. And I'm just sitting here just like this, just like, oh, wish I could have some subtitles, or wish somebody back there could figure it out because I can't hear anything. So
it's so good. Hey, let's do this. We're a little late on timeout. We're going to have Erica Lambert come in for a few minutes as well and talk about her game tonight at 5 o'clock. Again, UNFospreys.com for more. 8 o'clock game for the men, River City Rumble Part 2. We've got a lot to get to, though. I want to talk about this USA-Canada game a little bit more. Also, we've got a Daniel Griffiths article out on running backs and running back protection. I think that's an interesting conversation. Some thoughts on that. Still on the way. We take you until 1 o'clock today. River City Rumble tonight. JU. Can they split the series with UNF? Can the Ospreys get back to 500 in the A-Sun? They're both in the conference tournament, so it comes down to a few days in March. It always does in the A-Sun. But here's momentum and seeding and matchups. It all matters at this time of year as we get set to flip the calendar.
The Tom Bush family of dealerships, they've been serving customers in the Jacksonville area for 55 years. They've been your go-to spot to get and stay on the road since 1970, and that's still the case here in 2025 and beyond, even if the cars have changed just a little bit.
Check out the sleek line of vehicles of the future. That's right, electric vehicles. Tom Bush offers a full lineup of reliable electric cars with state-of-the-art service facilities. Like the new VinFast, Tom Bush is among the first dealers in the entire country to offer the VinFast, and let me tell you, this thing is sweet. The good folks at Tom Bush have all the info on charging, service, tax credits, and everything you need to keep your EV running smoothly. BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, Mini, and the newly offered VinFast. There's something for everyone at the Tom Bush family of dealerships. Ready to join the Tom Bush family? Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory online at tombush.com.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jags 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
What is the Amelia, if you don't know?
feel it coming? The rumble in your chest, the roar of the crowd. It's an experience you won't forget. The Amalie Motor Oil NHLA Gator Nationals are back March 6th through 9th at Gainesville Raceway. It's where anticipation meets asphalt, where you can meet your heroes face to face and feel like a part of the action. Plus, parking and kids under 12 are free with general admission. The Amalie Motor Oil NHLA Gator Nationals, March 6th through 9th. Get your tickets today.
Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to. And they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans. And I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, quick reminder here, actually, if you can see my coffee mug, it's got St. Michael's Soldiers on it. One of the recipients, or beneficiaries, I should say, of our Dream 18 that we do each and every year, along with North Florida Junior Golf Foundation, obviously getting into the Players' Championship and as well. And golf season, although it's a little chilly again this week, golf season is here. Check out actionsportsjaxdream18.com for a Dream 18 card. And you got to do it soon if you want St. John's Golf and Country Club. That's through the end of February. So you get that card quick. Maybe I get it to you, and then you can still use it. And other courses, too. So it's got plenty of value on it, just $49. And some of the proceeds go right to the Dream 18 charities as well. actionsportsjaxdream18.com. Welcome back, everybody. Brent Martineau here. Austin Lane out in Las Vegas. He'll rejoin us in just a moment. Jason Hamby with us as well. We just talked to Matthew Driscoll for a bit. And now let's stay on the campus of the University of North Florida and talk to the women's basketball coach at UNF. And Erica Lambert joins us right now. And we haven't visited with Coach since the start of the season. And Coach, I know the record doesn't say things are going great, but I hope you're doing well.
I am doing well. I'm doing well. We've got 4 games left. We're going to just get everything out of the end of this season that we possibly can. It feels like 5 minutes ago that I last talked to you, and 100 years, both at the same time, with the young team that we have and just all the injuries that we've experienced this season. It's been kind of unbelievable, but my group is still staying positive every day, coming in with a great attitude. Our coaching staff is teaching as much as we can, and we feel like we're gonna figure out a way to win a game somehow in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, how much of it is the injuries? You told us, and I thought it was pretty neat. I remember our conversation. You said you guys had some flaws going into the year anyway. You knew you weren't where you're just getting this thing rolling here at the UNF, and you knew you weren't going to be where you want to still be. But then you have some injuries along the way. Maybe there's some tough breaks along the way. Like, how has this season unraveled in that respect that you maybe couldn't predict, even though you knew you had some flaws early on?
Sure. Taking over, I knew it was going to be a multi-year process with the rebuilding and my first recruiting class. By the time I got here and got staff in here, we were even late on that recruiting class. So a lot of the kids that we brought were kind of last minute. That's just the nature of the beast with the transfer portal and everything. But I still felt like the group that we built for 24-25 was enough. I felt like we had just enough power, just enough firepower, just enough defense, just enough rebounding to make a move forward. And what I didn't predict was, having 6 kids injured at one time and things like that. So it's definitely taught me to expect the unexpected, to plan for it. It's made me a better coach because we've been limited a lot of nights. We don't have the lineups that we would normally have. And so we haven't really allowed our players to use it as an excuse. And so I don't get to as well. We just use what we have and figure it out from there. We're getting a couple kids who've been injured all year are starting to maybe become available. We've seen Maddie Millar in the last couple of contests, our local shooter. And so what we've been lacking the most with our injuries is our 3-point shooting, which allows defenses to sag off of us. And that's why I think I've had to get really creative as a coach to figure out how to score in transition and just score against sagging defense. But Grace Hunter is a senior captain for us, and she's been sidelined most of the season, which has been it's been tricky because we miss her on the court, but also she's a great leader for us, and it's just tough to do that from the injured list. So she's been fighting her way back and may see some time in these final contests. So that might feel like a little bit of a breather just to have some three-point shooting on the floor.
How much, it's hard to see when you're not getting the W's, how much to see some positive things that you'll still drag with you into the offseason or keep building on? Are there some of those that as you try to stay positive with it, you can identify, you can accentuate, if you will, and again, things that are building blocks that really on the outside looking in, we won't see because we're looking at a record or the scoreboard at the end of the day?
Absolutely. You know, we've really tried to teach our kids about resilience. And as a coach, I've had to have tunnel vision just to focus on those positives because there are some, there really are. And Kayla Rouget has done a fantastic job for us all season. Our senior point guard, she's also our captain. She's our floor general. She's the clear leader of this group, a more quiet personality, but her game is loud and she does a really good job for us scoring, defending the other team's best players. She's solidifying her legacy here at UNF. She'll be in the top 10 career marks in like 5 different categories by the time all is said and done. So we celebrate that. And then our freshman class has really made waves in the conference. I hate for them that they haven't gotten to experience the wins that go along with that. But Jamison Stinson will likely be, well, I know she'll be in the top 10 for single season marks 3-pointers made. And probably the best freshman shooter that's been here. And so Jasmine Gibson, another freshman, she's been rebounding the heck out of the ball for us. She's our double-double queen and will also make top 10 single season marks in that. And I don't know how many of the other players who've done that at UNF are freshmen. We're still looking into that. But the freshman class, Nikki Carino is our other freshman who's on the floor for us and has been adding some big minutes. And so I think even though the record doesn't show it, I really feel confident that as a group, as a freshman group, we have the best group in the conference. And so that's certainly, that bodes well for the future.
What does the recruiting trail look like for next year? I mean, where are you guys at in that process? You already know what's coming in, I would assume by this point in 2025 here in the fall?
Sure. We signed 3 in November, so we're really excited about them. And I can speak on them, but 2 high school players. One is Soraya Ogaldez. She's in Seattle, all the way on the other coast. So I watch her games late at night. Her team is ranked 2nd in the state right now, and they're making a great playoff run. So I get to watch those online in the wee hours of the morning. But and then Abby Knopf is our local product. I just went to watch her playoff game on Tuesday. They play again tomorrow. Cheering her on at Bowls. And, she's just a phenomenal 3-point shooter who has continued to expand her game. She's playing on-ball defense really tough. She's driving the ball to the basket, which I think we didn't see as much early in her career. And, I went to the game Tuesday and I met the grandparents and I saw the whole crew that follows Abby. She's got a whole cheering section that comes with her. So we're excited for them to bring that to UNF. And then we've signed Mazi Reyes, who is she'll be a junior guard for us. She's at Hillsborough Community College now. She's a Tampa product, and she's been consistently top. She was top 13 in the country last I checked in the junior college ranks in scoring. So her team's doing really, really well, and she's a tough 3-guard, real physical kid who can shoot the 3 ball, but also post up. She does a great job rebounding. And then we have some other exciting commitments that are not official yet, so I can't talk about those. But our staff has certainly been focused on making sure that we have everything we need to make that jump forward next season.
All right, the cool thing is you got 3 out of 4 to finish at home, including tonight, 5 o'clock UNF Arena, part of the doubleheader before the JU UNF game. And just a quick breakdown of this one tonight against Eastern Kentucky, Coach, before we let you go.
Eastern Kentucky they're 4th in our league right now, and I really have enjoyed watching them play. They're a really balanced team. So we've got the ASUN is varied, where you've got some teams that are just led by a superstar and they're tough to stop. But Eastern Kentucky has weapons all over the floor, which makes it a real challenge guarding them. They are a team that, like I said, they'll play a pretty hard sagging man defense. And so we've got to figure out how to score points in transition. You're going to see an up-tempo game tonight because we've got to get some possessions, some free ones, some free layups moving fast. And then we really need to shoot the 3-ball well. So if they're going to sag off of us, we've got to make them pay for that. And that's where I really I think it could be valuable that we have a couple of those kids who haven't been able to play most of the season, but are feeling good right now, and they shoot it at a pretty good clip. So I'd be excited to see a few more of those go in. And then, defensively, we'll just do what we've been doing all season and try to mix it up, keep the offense guessing. My associate head coach is Tron Griffin, Jacksonville native, and he does a great job of just mixing up our defenses at the right time, throwing in some zone, throwing in some junk stuff just to keep the offense on their toes. And you have to do that with a team like Eastern Kentucky because they, like I said, they have weapons all over the floor. They have another really good freshman who's been freshman of the week several times in the ASUN. She's shooting the ball at a really good clip. So it's a fun matchup to see her and Jamison Stinson face off.
I look forward to seeing that one at 5 o'clock tonight. Hey, I know you can take some bragging rights inside that office, though. You can go down to Driscoll and say your Wi-Fi is way better than his. We had to show the old school picture of him with the baggy pants most of our interviews. So yours is at least looking good on your side of the office. So that's good.
Well, okay. I'll take. Hey, I'm looking for wins wherever I can find them. So we'll take that one. But I really appreciate your time, Brent.
Right, thanks for hanging out with us. Good luck tonight. We'll see you at 5 o'clock over there at UNF Arena, and also one on Saturday at 2, by the way, before a road trip, and then finish up with your own River City Rumble on March 1st, 2 o'clock at UNF Arena. Good luck the rest of the way, Coach.
Thank you. Go Ospreys.
That is Erica Lambert, coach of the Ospreys, and obviously they continue to battle injuries and everything else, looking for their first ASUN win here late in the season. And good luck to them tonight, part of the doubleheader at UNF Arena. All right, let's welcome back in Austin Lane. I think we got him. Then back out to Vegas we go. And let's talk about this. We're going to go football heavy at noon with the Daniel Griffiths article that we have on Pass Pro with the Jaguars, because I think it's an interesting topic. And also the what other football thing was I teasing? I don't know. We're going to do that. USA, Canada, though, before, as I want to get into that. That's hockey. I mean, it's really cool to see this thing ramped up the way it's ramped up. I mean, no, you're a hockey guy, but that's I know when they're playing, I see the hype about it. People are talking about it. I still thought it was fascinating. I was down at Flagler to watch some baseball, and Ty's down there, and he's redshirting, so we went out to dinner, and I'm like, hey, what are you watching tonight? Or what is this, that? And it's he's talking about the hockey. I'm like, what are you talking about hockey for? And they got a kid from Massachusetts on, and he was talking about it right away. He was just coming off the field. He's like, I got to get home and watch the hockey game. Or, so people are talking about it. Different than normal, I guess, is the point. And it's really neat to see this. And it's a big matchup tonight in the championship game of this Four Nations that the NHL has put on. Usually you get something like that, it's well, is that part of the NHL? It is. The intensity's been there. The storylines have been in there. The drive. It almost feels like they want this more than a Stanley Cup at the moment, Austin.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I think it means a lot, obviously, to both teams. We talk about the U.S., they haven't won a World Cup or any kind of first place accolade in terms of playing the world teams in a very long time, right? So there's definitely incentive for the U.S. team to win this game. And obviously we talk about Canada, and people can kind of go back and forth of who's the better team. I will say that Canada has more of the stars, right? Canada has Connor McDavid. He's kind of like the who's who. Canada has their captain, Sidney Crosby. He's been doing it for a very long time at a very high level.
Canada's Canada.
Canada's Canada. And I'd probably give the advantage in terms of their offense to Canada. And they've been front runners for a long time in terms of, world play and everything. So I don't know, man. Everything, it just seems like the stars are kind of aligning for this, right? Because you have the Canadian team that's very high scoring, very skilled. And you have the U.S. team, which I think has better goaltending. Defenses are comparable, but they're grittier, right? And you see, if you watch any of the Four Nations, you've seen this all the whole time, where the U.S. they're playing a very physical brand of hockey. And we can't say this enough. I think everyone agrees with me here on the show, where you had a situation with the All-Star game in the NHL where people tuned in more for the skills than they really did for the actual game.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of like how people, in the past would tune in for the dunk contest, the 3-point contest more than the actual NBA All-Star game. And now everyone's tuning in. What was it? 10.1 million, or whatever it was for the first Canada versus US game. And that was just, like the round robin play. Everyone's invested into this, and it's going to be a great matchup tonight. And listen, if USA can pull this off, it's going to be a long time coming because, like I said, they haven't had that world success in a long time.
So this is more important to the U.S. or more important to Canada, in your opinion?
Ooh, I mean, I can't really speak for Canada. I mean, I know it's important to the U.S. because they've kind of been that underdog. They've been that team that hasn't got the job done in a very long time. And I think Canada, in terms of expectations, dude, it's Canada, right? Like they obviously know how to play hockey. So I'm not going to say it's more important to one certain team. I just think like USA is going to come out and try to win this thing because it has been a long time.
Yeah. So when is the last time? This is what I asked you guys last night in preparation for today on this topic. When was the last time a league got something so right? And my mind goes to, crazy enough, and I said this earlier, it's like not necessarily the leagues that feel like they're thriving that come up with some really good ideas, because they're the ones usually coming up with ideas to try to pivot things or try to increase things or amp things up. And you take Major League Baseball, and really when they made all those moves a couple years ago, from the timing to everything else.
Stolen base.
Yeah. And again, like, I like it. I don't know if everybody, the stolen base stuff, again, I like it. I think it's opened up the game. The lack of shifts, I think it's got us back to playing like you can do hit and runs and other things like that. It's just a little bit of a combination of today's baseball versus old day baseball, and I think they found a niche here. But the biggest thing is the time. I mean, they've really increased. They've ramped things up time wise. You can now go to a game in 2 hours and 15 minutes instead of 4 hours, and that has really worked. And I wasn't a fan of it, man. Like I wasn't. I'm like, you don't put a clock on this game. You really don't do that. And I still have my things that I don't like. Like, I like to build the drama in the ninth inning. I like to build the drama in the postseason. I think they should extend the clock, quite frankly, in the postseason than they do in the regular season for that purpose. Like, that drama is real. You can feel it coming off your TV but now it's just like, boom, we pitch again, pitch again, pitch again. Bottom line is, it's worked. So that is one Austen that I think, like, has really worked. And I'm trying to think the NFL or the NBA, have they come up with some real new thing that has hit a home run like the NHL is doing?
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't. Obviously, I don't think that they've come up with like the Four Nations per se. But if we're talking about rules and kind of how the game comes across on whether you're watching on television or if you're there in person, I mean, and I forgot like when this was implemented, but I think the whole challenge flag, I think that the challenge flag was a good thing for the NFL because, and like, I guess, we kind of forget about it now because there's so many challenges, it seems like, but think about that. Like there was a time where if a play happened, you had nothing to say about it. It's just, okay, we're on to the next play. Even if it was, it was the wrong call, even if it was questionable, whatever the case may be, coaches didn't have the right to throw a flag and say, I don't agree with that call. Let's go to the instant replay and see. Like, there was a time, which is hard to remember, but there was a time where that was the case. So I just think the implementation of the challenge rule for the NFL is probably a game changer.
And replay assist could argue is even a bigger game changer than the challenge flag to begin with. Now that we can actually do a review less than 6, 7, 8 minutes and just keep the momentum of the football game and not change outcomes because maybe a coach is out of a challenge or it's not a challengeable play or whatever. That's a big one as well.
I think that's a good call. Both of you guys are right on that, right? Like the challenge. See, to me, the challenge flag adds drama to the game, right? And the NFL doesn't need help. The NFL's doing fine. But even when they change the extra point, you're like, should they change the extra point? It's like, okay, that worked. The NFL's changed things. Now can they get the overtime right? Do we like it? I think it's debatable. I think debates are good, though. Do we know what a catch is? Well, they've kind of loosened that thing up, too. That was a little too crazy. But the replay assist is really good because, to be honest with you, I call that the BW3 button that the NFL used. And the reason, that was the whole stoppage of play. What we always said about a replay, even when I think I was debating whether I really liked it or not in a lot of different sports. It should be used for the get off the couch moment is what I called it. It's like if you just jump up like, what the hell? They totally whiffed on that play. Like they just missed. And now the NFL says, whoa, you're right, we did miss. Well, we're going to correct that right now within 30 seconds because it's clear and obvious. And you're right, it's a very good rule. It keeps the momentum of the game. They get it right. It takes away from the criticism of the absurdity of missing a call,
which is ironic because the Chiefs, we had more heat on the Chiefs or on the referees before a Super Bowl than we probably ever had.
Yeah, but we're going to find that anyway. But you're right. But I think especially in today's gambling world, to get away from a play that looks so obviously missed and to be able to replace that and get that right, I think is an important thing. And so you're right. That's done a good job. But I mean, listen, leagues come up with different ideas all the time. Somebody in NASCAR would say right now, hey, we did this, and it's great. And I'm probably not sure what that rule is, but I'm sure it hits like, wow, that was a game-changing rule. That was obvious. Why didn't we do this before? This is still a chance, Austin, though, for the NHL. Like this was an opportunity to change something, but you never know if it's going to work. And the bottom line is, it has really, really worked. They have made this thing, like I said earlier, feel bigger than the Stanley Cup. What I wonder now is because it's so big, will it give them momentum the second half of the season? Will it draw more eyeballs to the sport? Will it create even a bigger playoff and maybe Stanley Cup final because of what's happening here right now in this week and tonight? I think that's to be determined.
It is to be determined. But I do like the coverage that it's getting, right? Like every big sports media outlet is rallying behind the four nations, and that's what hockey needs, right? Like hockey, it seems like it's such a niche sport sometimes that like the casual sports fan just can't get behind it. But once again, when you add patriotism, when you add the national element to it, then all of a sudden people can rally behind that a little more. And I think if it's done anything, Brent, it's made people more intrigued. It's showcased some stars. Like you talk about like the Kachuk brothers. Maybe the casual sports fan didn't really know who they were or what their story is, but then they see them throw down to start the game against Canada, and it's like, all right, well, let me look into these guys a little more because they're crazy. And guess what? Like, they aren't necessarily the best hockey players in the NHL. Now, some people will tell you that they are, but like, they're not necessarily like they're not scoring the most goals per se. Maybe not the flashiest guys, but they're the grittiest. And I think if you want to wrap the US in a bow, and then the kind of like how like the world perceives us sometimes, I feel like in sports, it's like, yeah, the US can be cocky, they're flashy and everything, but man, we have the grit to back it up. And that's what you saw versus, that first match with USA and Canada, where, if you're going to boo the national anthem, they're going to go after you. And it's crazy how a couple of fights I felt like put this whole thing on the map. Like I was a fan regardless, right? I mean, I was going to watch this whole thing regardless. But I think once you saw those fights happen and people started seeing like, oh, wow, this is just some kind of like all-star showcase. This is real. Then I think people started rallying behind that a little more, right? It's why people watch the World Cup. It's for the drama. It's for, the USA giving everything that they got to try to, make the final round, even though it's not going to happen ever because it's USA soccer, but it is what it is. But it's the same thing with hockey, where if you have people that care and people that go out there and play for pride or whatever they're playing for, people are going to rally behind you. And this is the issue with the NFL. And this is the issue with I don't want to say Major League Baseball, but this issue with NBA as well. When we're talking about all-star games, the players don't really care. So if the players don't care, then why should the fans care? And that's what it's all about. Like we're drawn towards athletes, we're drawn towards drama because they care. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if it's figure skating, it doesn't matter if it's gymnastics. If they go out there and do their thing and there's, everything's on the line, I'll watch it. But if you have situations at the NBA All-Star game where LeBron's sitting out because of a bum ankle, but then he comes back 2 days later and throwing down a 30-foot dunk over the Charlotte Hornets, like, why should I invest my time into that? And I get it. Maybe if you're an NBA player and you want to take some time off and you want to rest and it's the All-Star game, more power to you. But I don't got to be a fan of it. I'm gonna watch sports where the players care. And this Four Nations thing, man, these players are caring.
You're going to bet on it?
No.
It's still weird. It still doesn't feel like it's a heavily bet sport. No, seriously. Like, and somebody asked that in the comments. I think Hamby's Burns says, start learning how to bet on hockey. It will grow more. And I do think, listen, every sport's trying to figure that out. Like every sport. And I don't. Some are going to do. We've had this discussion, right? But I don't know if people are doing that tonight. I'm not sure.
So here's how I handle the whole betting thing. Like, I bet on football, sure, because like I know the game pretty well. Like, yeah, I know hockey as well, but like I always felt like betting was kind of an incentive to watch something, right? Like sometimes I'll bet like on a soccer game just because like if I'm going to watch an English Premier Soccer game, I got to make it a little more interesting, right?
No
or if
doubt.
I'm going to watch a random Major League Baseball game, I got to make it a little more interesting. I don't need any incentive tonight for the Four Nations.
That's a good point.
Title. Like, I'm going to tune in regardless. So I don't got to put any money down because I'm going to enjoy myself regardless.
A couple thoughts on. I think when you talk about is this going to carry over into the rest of the season into the playoffs? I don't know about rest of the season, but especially in the playoffs, like casual fans tune in to watch players, not teams. That's very obvious, and we have. The fact of the matter is, I know a couple players on the USA team, and I had never heard of them before. And as a super casual fan who might watch 2 hockey games all year, if I know that those brothers, I don't even know if they're on a playoff team. I don't know what team they're on right now. But if they're in the playoffs and they're facing, a team with anybody who on Canada's team, I'll probably tune in for a few minutes at the very least. As far as other successes like this from leagues, when the MLB launched the WBC, World Baseball Classic, and I think it was 06, 07, that's a home run.
Yeah, it's been good.
Like, I'll never forget Adam Jones robbing Manny Machado in that must-win game for the rest of my life. That's been awesome. The league that has done the very opposite of this is actually not the NBA, it's NCAA, and they're continuing to get crushed. And like we talked about yesterday with the playoff, they had their meeting, and it's looking more and more like we're going to get an expansion again very soon. But I'll save that talk for Stadium Pulse tomorrow. My question, though, for tonight, okay, so the first one was obviously in Canada. That's what started this whole thing. Well, tonight's in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So Boston, they don't like Canada to begin with. What is your – so, all right, I'll give you a line. If you want to – don't bet on the game, bet on this. Will there be booze for the Canadian national anthem? Ooh. Yes or no?
I think there is going to be, just because it's Boston. I feel like the Boston fan base has always been, I consider Boston up there with Philly and like Oakland back in the day a little bit. So, yeah, I think you probably you will hear some booze.
Yeah, just as a retaliation to them booing. Yeah, again, I don't think normally you would up until because of that. I do think and you're going to give us some more here at first, but I don't think we'll get as much fighting in this one, especially off the rip, because you can't put yourself in a bad spot trying to win a championship, right?
That makes sense.
For sure. I agree with that, Brent. But who knows, man? Like. And that's one of the things. Like, you got to tune in as to watch. And Amby, to echo your point, so you have Matthew Tkachuk, who I believe was the guy that started with the first fight, played for the Florida Panthers, and the Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup last year. And it's crazy how it kind of parallels everything that's happening, because the Florida Panthers took on the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Without getting too in depth into it, but the Edmonton Oilers arguably have the 2 best players in the entire NHL, in Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. Mm-hmm. And they were the highest scoring team all year. And they're taking on the Florida Panthers, who are the more complete team, but once again, it's based in grit. So you had star power versus grit. A lot like you're going to see tonight with USA versus Canada, you saw last year with the Florida Panthers in Edmonton. And I think if this game can showcase anything, I hope you get hits. I honestly hope you get fights, because then you can tell people, hey, did you like what you saw there for the Four Nations? Well, guess what? When the Stanley Cup playoffs come around, you're going to want to watch that as well, because you're going to see that exact same intensity, and you're probably going to see some fights as well.
Well, it's a great parallel, too, because obviously you got U.S.-Canada there as well in that Stanley Cup Finals. But I think you're right, Hamby. I think people are Googling these guys. I'd love to know, like, a Google search engine that's probably out there somewhere, how much these guys are being Googled. like this week, or hockey in general, or Kachucks in general, or whoever, than like the previous month or year or whatever else. It's got to be really high, and that's a good thing. Like we're educated, we learn, we pick our favorites, we want to go watch these guys, and there are more heroes to be had tonight, and that's who's it going to be, and that's the thing. Can you transcend? Right now, it feels like the Kachucks are transcending the hockey world. People know them for these guys. Everybody knows them. If you're a hockey fan, like this isn't new. Hockey fans are like laughing at people like they don't know that name, right? But
yeah,
but that's how this happens. Like that's how you get more people involved. Were you going to ask another one?
No, that was
it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Hey, by the way, I thought this was kind of cool. On Miller and Moulton this morning, they had Micah Ruzioni on, of course, of USA fame from 1980. And so they had him on the show. You can go back and listen to it on millerandmoulton.com. So millerandmoulton.com. They had an interview with Micah Ruzioni, so always a good guy to hear from, leading into a big USA hockey game tonight. That is against Canada. I've been really going with match lately. Like I even said that to Kaylee the other day. I was like, hey, your softball match. I'm like, am I locked into the Fleet and Footy show today for Jacksonville Armada? I mean, what the hell am I talking about these days?
Pretty bad.
We got match. Is anything else called a match other than soccer? Like, what am I doing?
Tennis, right? Isn't it tennis?
Tennis match. There you go. Maybe I've been watching some tennis. I don't know. Team USA against Canada tonight, and we'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. We will also take a break right now. Don't forget our friends at JaxPal, jaxpal.org, the Jacksonville Police Athletic League. You can get involved, and we are involved in partnering up with Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network and also the Brent Austen Show. And you can, too, how you can help kids in after-school programs. You can make donations. Your kids can be a part of it. All the different things they do at jaxpal.org.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can save $500 on a Connecticut Premier Softener and get a free Connect Salt Monitor with purchase. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with We Are Martyr rolling off our tongues. Never will we roam, for we know our place is home. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
All right, so apparently there's an asteroid flying around. I thought I saw one recently about like 2032. There's one that has like a 2-point-something chance to hit. Well, the one that's could hit in 2024 apparently has gone down percentage-wise from 3.1% to 1.5%. This is good news, people. But still, 1 in 32 odds for an asteroid to hit Earth? Now, I guess hitting Jacksonville would be totally different. Earth's pretty big. So, any concern about this?
About the asteroid?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so it could like hit a city, yeah, but like aren't they gonna know like what city it's gonna be? So can't you just kind of like evacuate? It'll be all right.
Do you know if they dial it into that? I was reading a little bit about it today.
They got to know at least vicinity-wise.
So they say, first of all, it's 100. The asteroid is 130 to 300 feet wide. Okay.
Oh, that's no problem.
So it doesn't feel very big. But what I read about this is, if it hit, like if you put it over Paris, London, or New York, it says this quote, you basically wipe out the whole city.
Okay.
How?
I don't know. I mean, I guess the reverberation effect of that.
Does it roll like a soccer ball?
No, I mean, just it's like if something crashes down, it doesn't just land in the spot that it crashes in a 130-foot area.
Well, I know, but those are some big
this thing would be massive.
I mean, can't you construct like a giant bounce house that would like kind of absorb some of the blow?
I like that idea.
I was actually thinking of that, and I didn't want to say it. Like, at least I didn't want to sound so naive about it, which I guess I would be anyway. But what can you do? Can you shoot it down? Can you blow it up? Like, can you do on its way to Earth? Like, I don't know. Can you do any of that kind of stuff?
Can you send a team of oil men that are drilling to go on top of said asteroid and drill a hole in it, and then you put a nuke down and it explodes?
Now we're talking.
But my guess is like
Bruce Willis or Ben Affleck.
Do asteroids move fast? I would think they move pretty fast, though.
Oh yeah,
right.
Brent, haven't you seen it's essentially a documentary called Armageddon?
I have. That's what I'm wondering about.
Yeah.
Are we
there we
someday
go.
is Armageddon going to be the asteroid at some point at whatever, it's 500 years from now, that does it, that does us in? Could be a city killer. Like
I'm
this
talking
article.
about the movie Armageddon, man.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know the
Okay.
article. This article actually is. It says it could cause significant devastation in populous area. A city killer is what people are calling it. But it does say, I think somewhere in this article, it said like, don't worry, it won't wipe out our entire species. Like
What happened? Okay, but also, and once again, like I know it's the odds are in our favor, but we got to be cautious. I get it. 1 in 32 is a little scary. What are the odds that it actually touches land though and doesn't land in the ocean?
There's some of that in here. I think I saw it. Okay, so I don't know how they know this already, but the Asteroid Warning Network, I guess, is a real thing, put out a list of possible impact locations, which largely includes empty oceans, uninhabited or sparsely populated areas in the eastern Pacific Ocean, northern South America, the Atlantic Ocean, parts of Africa, the Arabian Sea, and South Asia. However, some possible impact locations are densely populated areas. So it's a pretty giant and broad description. Oh, here's the thing. It says both possibilities would likely cause devastating damages on the ground, though not enough for it to be a mass extinction event. We will not go extinct, apparently.
Okay.
But some may benefit more than others.
Hop in the bunker. Let's do this.
I know. I don't know what you do. Like, I don't want to know, actually, so I don't want to know. But, like, what's the news like when an asteroid might be coming? Like, what is that? Like, what's the 24-hour coverage look like on that?
What the plan is, man? I feel like we have some time, right? Because when's it supposed to hit, Brent?
I think they said any time in this year, right? I don't know if
it's this. I thought it was like in a
no,
couple of
2032. I'm sorry, it's 2030.
Yeah, come on, man.
Why is it called 2024 YR4? I guess this is the year they identified it last year, but it's not going to hit until 2032. So we've got time. We've got a new stadium to build. There's still time to win a Super Bowl. Like, we're okay for the time being. But as I always say on these, it would be so disappointing to just boom, like everything go. Right? Like, because I wish now I bought the Lambo like Carson Beck.
Bruh.
Like, I don't want, like, I'm like trying to save for retirement.
Like,
right?
You don't have it?
Yeah. No, but it's like, sell my house now if you're telling me that everything's gone in like 3 years or something.
It's a
I'm just going to spend my money.
It's not a world killer.
All right, just making sure, though. I just want to make sure. Like, it's okay if I go, but at least, like, leave something to the kids or next generations or whatever, right? But if we're just going to, like, everything's going to go, like, I want it to all be gone. Like, just give us an expiration date, please.
How funny is it going to be when it touches down in the U.S.? Like, that would be funny. But, like, if it touches down in the U.S., like, on a Saturday and Roger Goodell's got to go, I mean, we could just move the game. It's not a big deal. Like, we're all good. Come on, man.
We would like to, it hit like the South Dakota, North Dakota area. We would like to thank the Chicago Bears for accommodating their rival Minnesota Vikings here on this Sunday game.
It'd probably be like a Jaguars Titans Thursday night game where it had to get moved or something like that.
Right.
Sweet.
Sweet again.
Yeah.
By the way, we're playing every day by 2032. Like there are no days off.
Zone. Player safety, we're all good.
Hey, let's get back some football talk. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Jason Hamby, and Daniel Griffiths contributes to the show each and every day and wrote a new article. It's up on actionsportsjacks.com. And how about Paint the Play? And, well, we do that with That One Painter First Coast, but we could paint the player and the play. In the description here with this topic. Don't forget to visit thatonepainter.com/first-coast or give them a call, 904-643-3025 for all your painting needs. And the topic today by Daniel Griffiths, and again, you can read the full article on actionsportsjacks.com, is pass protection. It's an interesting conversation because ever since, I got to Jacksonville and Maurice Jones-Drew obviously was a great running back for the Jags, but I was alerted to this with Maurice more than anybody else. What people would say about what he does without the ball. And one of those things is pass pro. He was really good at it. He was underrated for it. And I don't think people talk about it at all. And you fast forward to now, and I'm not sure the Jags have guys that are very good at it. And that's why you saw D'Ernest Johnson on the field as much as you did, because there's a trust factor in that part of the game. Where if you don't trust Tank Bigsby to do it, and quite frankly, I don't think they do, and they do have questions about even his hands coming out of the backfield. But Etienne's been playing in the league now for a few years. You'd think he'd be better at it. Well, he's better than Bigsby, I think, at it. But D'Ernest Johnson is better than both of them at it. And so we wonder why in some situations this year was D'Ernest Johnson on the field when these guys we thought should have been on the field, and I think it really might relate back to that. Now, what's going to happen is not a lot of people are going to come in front of a microphone and be like, yeah, they stink at pass protection. All right. But the reality is, if you can't trust your running back to pick up a block, to pick up a blitz, to know where to go, to be on this side of the quarterback versus this side of the quarterback. Another one that strikes me in this conversation, Leonard Fournette in his rookie year did a lot of nice things. But there would be times where Blake Bortles would be literally like moving Fournette to the other side. Like, dude, you got to get over here. Like, I'm setting the pass protection, and it's a hard thing to get, Austin, right? I mean, you played in the league. I don't know how much you know about that, but on the running back side of things, but I think this is a tricky thing, especially for young players to really get the handle on, but it's an important part of it.
It's a huge thing, Brent. And to me, it's one of those rare skills in football where either like you got it or you don't. Right. Like in the game of football, there's a lot of things like as you progress as a player that you can get taught, that you can learn, that you can add to your arsenal. But I always felt like with pass protection, either you're good at it or you're not. And you see this all the time in the NFL. And I think people have the preconceived notion, at least the casuals out there have the preconceived notion of, okay, well, pass protection, you just got to like line up in a certain spot, go across the quarterback and block somebody. And that's not all it is. It's read recognition, right? It's identifying the blitzers. It's being in the right spot. And a lot goes into it. I kind of look at it like this. Not every outside linebacker would make a great inside linebacker. Not every guard would make a great center. Because it's a different skill set. You have to have those instincts. You have to have that mindset. You have to have the wherewithal to know exactly where to step up in pass protection. And some that are blessed that can, those every down backs, those Saquons, they can do it. But very rarely, I feel like, do you have a traditional 3-down back who can do everything? And that's the thing too. Like we think of a 3rd down back. All right, well, go out in coverage. Go run a wheel route. Go run a 5-yard out route. We'll get you the ball. Well, sometimes you got to stay in. Sometimes you got to pick up a blitz and everything. So, yeah, it's definitely a rare trait. I feel like with college football now, with getting the running back more involved in the pass game, that there's more guys that are capable of doing it, Brent. But it's like I said, either I feel like you're born with it and you have the wherewithal to do it, or you don't. But I think it's a very hard thing to learn on the fly.
I don't think it would be something in your room that you guys would probably address too much. I think from a defensive end standpoint or maybe you would defensive line. I would think about it more of a linebacker because that's the blitzing guy. But what I'm getting at here, do you remember meetings at all, like where you'd be like going against Indianapolis or Tennessee or wherever, and you actually would identify, hey, we can make some things happen here. We can confuse that back on 3rd down, or he's really just not a stout run blocker, or blitz picker upper or whatever else. Like, are those conversations that are had in defensive rooms?
No, without a doubt. As defensive ends, and usually as a defensive tackle, you had to recognize where that 3rd down back was going to be, because sometimes our pressures revolved around that. To try to make it, to layman's terms here. So back when I played in like 2010, 11, and 12 for the Jaguars, Terrence Knighton, pot roast, he was the game caller, right? So Terrence Knighton was in charge of, on the defensive line, when it was 3rd and long and we knew we could pin our ears back and go, he was calling the games. And when you call the games, there's a couple of things, but to keep it pretty simple, you did this, which meant it was exit, and you did this, which meant it was text. So text basically means is the tackle goes first and the end follows around him. Exit means that the end goes first inside the gap, and then the tackle will make him right and cover around him. Well, the rule of the thumb was that you always had to run exit towards the running back side, because that means they're not going to slide the protection, right? If the running back's to your side, 9 times out of 10, that running back will step up and try to take on a blitzer or try to take on a defensive lineman trying to come around on an exit. Very rarely, at least back in 2010, were teams gonna, shift that running back, make him come across the quarterback space and take the other side. So we had it always ingrained in us where if you had the running back to our side, that's going to allow you to run the exit game where the end goes first. If the running back's away from you, then you got to stick to more text games. Now, you could run like 2 text games at the same time on both sides, and that was fine. But the biggest rule was you couldn't run the end going first into slide protection away from the running back.
Interesting. The other thing that's notable, it's in the weeds, but I get it. I think I don't believe many people watch football, and I'm not even an X's and O guy, but I don't think they watch it with this in mind. And now you're out of the shotgun all the time, right? So you've got some more of that. You see some exotic things on defense. You've got to be able to pick this up. Like the IQ of your football team comes in handy. It simply, to me, if you look at some of the numbers and what they didn't do a great job of in that respect, it's why Dearness Johnson was in the game some. And I always felt like this year we were hammering Dearness Johnson. It was not the intent. It was more like, well, don't you have a better option? Should you have a better option? Well, I don't think they trusted some of the other options sometimes in certain situations. And some of that's just a youthful back in a Tank Bigsby, and some of that's, well, maybe they're not getting it right, and they should be by now. So something to keep an eye on. What also Daniel does here is he highlights what the Bucs did. See, the Jags were 24th while the Bucs were 4th in targets on third down targets for a running back. And look at the rating. That should be an easy play. 67.9 NFL rating, 31st. It's an easy play to dump it to a back. The Bucs were third on those kind of plays. The Jags were 31st. Is this what Liam Cohen's going to be able to bring? This is about the run game as well, but the screen game as well, but the protection game too. So these are very important things. I think that maybe won't headline what Liam Cohen is doing, but they'll be subtle. And if the Jags creep up in a lot of these categories, it could really pay off at the end of the day. I don't remember a coach. I was thinking about this morning. I don't remember a coach coming into Jacksonville, at least, or really anywhere that I've covered, and people talking about the run game so much, Austin, and how much he's going to impact it. I think in today's world, we're talking so much about passing and QBs. We relate to the passing part of that, not the running part of that. And so it's like, hey, how high flying is your offense? And it's really interesting to hear so many people talk about Liam Cohen and the run game. Tom Coughlin came in and you were thinking run game, but you also just thought trenches, right? You knew grit and toughness and trenches and old school football. And while Liam Cohen is probably preaching that too, because that's where the run game starts, it just feels like we hear run game so much more than anyone else that I can remember. And why is that? Well, they went from 32 to 32 to 4. So it's definitely a feather in his cap, but it's just an interesting thing to accentuate so much with this new coach in Jacksonville.
No, it definitely is, right? But that was kind of the calling card last year of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, especially when they had some key injuries at the wide receiver position. And it was really the emergence of Bucky Irving. And who's the other running back in Tampa before Irving got there?
Rashad White.
That was kind of,
yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So like Rashad White, the previous year, he was kind of the fantasy darling, right? So then the whole, I think, synopsis was, okay, well, you're going to have Rashad White, he's the starter, and then eventually you got this guy, Bucky Irving, bring him in every once in a while and to change of pace, okay, have fun. But then Bucky Irving started to ball out, and then it was almost like, hey, Rashad, we appreciate what you did for us, but Bucky Irving is kind of the guy now, right? And you saw that as a receiver, you saw that running between the tackles, and I wonder, and this has kind of been the biggest thing with Jacksonville, Brent, in terms of the running backs. Obviously, getting hit behind the line of scrimmage is one thing, but it's how they've used Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. And I'm very curious to see it. And I get it. Liam Cohen has spoke them both by name. I think he's a fan of both players. But I wonder what the share is going to look like, right? Because anybody would have told you when the season started, yeah, Rashad White's the man. He's got the spot, man. He earned it last year. He's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to get benched. And then here comes Bucky Irvin, and he balls out. And you really had no choice but to play him. So I wonder, based off of what Liam Cohen has seen, like, it's one thing to say, okay, here's how it's going to be when the season starts. But then these players are going to perform, and it's going to be like, okay, well, do we change up the game a little bit? Do we give Tank Bigsby more reps? Do we give Travis Etienne more reps? But the biggest question now is, what is the reps going to look like, those first couple games of the season? Do you go 50-50? Do you make Tank Bigsby your first, second down guy, and then make Travis Etienne the third down back? Obviously a little better in pass blocking, but also a better receiver as well. So that's going to be a giant question, I feel like, that we probably won't really know until the season starts, of what is this reps going to be like in terms of sharing them between Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne? Or do you draft somebody? Do you get somebody in free agency? And then do you have even more of a backfield to kind of sift through?
Yeah, it's a great curiosity, I think, of this year. More on this topic, by the way, on actionsportsjacks.com, courtesy of Daniel Griffiths. I would say I would love to be a fly on the wall in their evaluation of the backs in these kind of categories. Is it their fault? Was it the scheme fault? Because there's a lot of conversation about, like, hey, offensive line stinks. Offensive line's not run blocking. Offensive line, it's always on the offensive line. But really, if you talk to people in the building the last couple of years, they did not just put it on the offensive line. It was a vision thing. It was a hit the whole thing with authority. It was make a choice, make a decision. Like, is that a ETN problem? Is that a little bit of a Tank problem? Where does the fault lie, and how much better can you get? I'm not more interested in the fault. I'm more interested in the solution. How do you get that better? Do they feel like they can work with them? And initially, Liam Cohen's like, hey, we got two backs. So certainly was some of that. That is Paint the Play, presented by That One Painter First Coast. You can go to thatonepainter.com/first-coast. They love what they do at That One Painter. Stress-free and mess-free service as well. Respectful time and communication and value-based pricing with That One Painter First Coast. You can get a free estimate. You can look it up online or call 904-643-3025. Really servicing the entire area here in Northeast Florida. When we come back, we put a bow on the show. And we also want to remind you about the Amelia happening March 6th through the 9th. There's a lot going on in that early March window of time. A bunch going on around here in Jacksonville, from right down here in downtown to up in Amelia Island. And go check it out. You can be a part of it. Don't forget our QR code in the top left corner of the screen. We'll give you all the information. It will take you to AmeliaConcord.com to get tickets on the 30th edition of the Amelia. A fun time up there in Amelia Island. It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar. Grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic.
He's got some exciting news heading into 2025 as well. Christian Kirk.
It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you.
Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, which many of you have, you got to do it.
String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield, and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Kruzanovich's under-23 men's team.
They sit in the dying moments.
Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season.
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years, and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
The Tom Bush family of dealerships, they've been serving customers in the Jacksonville area for 55 years. They've been your go-to spot to get and stay on the road since 1970, and that's still the case here in 2025 and beyond, even if the cars have changed just a little bit.
Check out the sleek line of vehicles of the future. That's right, electric vehicles. Tom Bush offers a full lineup of reliable electric cars with state-of-the-art service facilities. Like the new VinFast, Tom Bush is among the first dealers in the entire country to offer the VinFast, and let me tell you, this thing is sweet. The good folks at Tom Bush have all the info on charging, service, tax credits, and everything you need to keep your EV running smoothly. BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, Mini, and the newly offered VinFast. There's something for everyone at the Tom Bush family of dealerships. Ready to join the Tom Bush family? Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory online at tombush.com.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
All right. I mean, what are we doing?
Ham, is this you?
I love how you crossed it out. Like, what is it? Like,
no, that's smart. That's smart.
No,
man.
no. Yeah, I know. But I actually, now I appreciate this, by the way, Hamby, so I give you a hard time. But I was like, can we just do the license plate part? Because what around it, it's got one of those license plate, what do they call those? Like the license plate, it has it says alumni from Montana
holder.
State.
Border. Okay.
Yeah, like the little border thing. And I'm like, well, they obviously didn't teach parking. This is in the Action News Jax parking lot, by the way. I have no idea whose car it is, and I'm calling them out. So hopefully I don't get offended. But what are we doing? Like I called Liv out the other day.
Doing?
Liv was very similar in her Jeep or Bozard Lincoln. I forget which one she had. She got multiple cars like Carson Beck.
Nautilus.
Brent, are you familiar with, is it called ducking with Jeeps? Liv gave me a crash course on like those little tiny ducks that they put in the Jeep and how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
Are you aware of that?
Well, I knew of it because every Jeep has them, and it's like a trade thing. Yeah, right? I feel like we talked about this.
So like,
I think we did too.
Oh, did we really? Was I here for? Okay, maybe we
You might not have been here for it.
Usually I remember those things.
Yeah, I know. You're way better at remembering than me.
Yeah, but basically she said so you take like a plastic ducky and then you put it like in the door handle of any Jeep that you like in a parking lot. It's wild.
That is pretty wild.
All right, but this isn't even close.
I mean,
which one do you? All right, hold on. Which one do you think they were going for?
Oh, they were definitely going for the other one. They didn't want to get they didn't want to open their door and hit the trees, right? Because you get stuck. Like I've been there, so you got to back in. But this isn't a big rig here. Like, this isn't my Nimnik Buick GMC. This isn't my Sierra
No.
1500. Like, we don't have to worry about it. Like, come on. I did it yesterday. Like, I was snug yesterday. I think in this exact spot, it wasn't much room for the big truck, but I made it work, baby, because I'm a former valet parker. So I made it work, and I just took out some of those trees. Don't tell anybody. But I didn't even mind parking a little bit up on that curb to sneak it in there in the only spot left. Hey, the other thing is this. This person got here before we did, I did. They're probably here in the morning. You could easily have picked the other spot. You could have picked the other spot. I mean, what are we doing?
It's rough.
Can we have a fine jar somewhere in here for this? Action News Jax?
Brent,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Brent, how you're not doing the show outside right now live, like sitting in a chair waiting to see whose car that is beyond me. But then it makes me wonder if they're here that early. I wonder if it's just like some random person that decided to park there.
I'm going to go see if they're still here.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Is he hopping on Ninja?
He might be hopping on Ninja. But him, yeah, this could be a
he just went to the
possibility
door.
Nope, they left.
Oh.
I went to the window.
Brent!
They left.
Man. You could have been outside, posted up, waiting to get live reactions. You know,
could have done a live interview.
Could have done a
Action
live
News
interview.
Jax breaking.
That's what we should
Unbelievable,
start
man.
doing. If we don't like people's parking jobs, we wait outside and we interview
Yep.
them. Like, that would be awesome. That would be really good. Now, listen.
I'm not gonna lie. On the morning show I did, Brent, I actually did that one time on the morning show where my co-host, parked over the line. So then I surprised her with I had the microphone and everything, and then I was interviewing her about why she parked like that.
Very good. Should have done that with Liv the other day. Like, I seriously put this in the chat, our group chat the other day with Liv. Like, she had done it. I'm like, Liv, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then I think she left it because, again, she's got like multiple cars, right? And so I was like, she left it. I was like, you're not even going to fix it? I think she actually came back and fixed it. I called her out. I was like, I don't know. I can't remember the sequence, but I'm like, I like that. By the way, you're allowed to say like Megan's name on the air. You can't do that, can't you? Like, we're not the same.
I don't know, man.
Why not?
I really don't, because I feel like anytime I talk about anything from the past, like people get in trouble. So I'm not trying to
really
whatever.
Okay, I'll do it.
Macaroni.
Yeah. Like, you don't think I'll like? I mean, I'm calling people out in the parking lot here right now. I mean, talk about getting in trouble. I probably get a little email coming soon my way.
Rhymes with Bregan. We'll just say that much. Bregan in Boston in the morning. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, Boston. You should have like a whole list of what you should rhyme with. Bart.
Oh, it's in there. Trust me, it's in there.
That's usually spur of the moment, and then Bart stuck, right? Like Barch was stuck for March.
Bart stuck. Yeah.
Burly Barch.
Yeah, Burly Barch. Barch burst. I should have did it really.
Yeah, you should have done. You know, we always think about like what we can do on the show, have a little fun, especially this time of year. We got March Madness coming up. I didn't tell this to you guys yet, but I really think like some of these things I just I get in my mind. And I'm like, I don't know if we can execute them like a certain way. Or there's just a lot going on, all right, people? There's a lot going on. So much so, and this is not a complaint, but Marcel's sitting here, and I thank Marcel because he actually went and got a coffee at Starbucks for me yesterday because we were like loaded with meetings. Boom. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to leave. And I was like, I gotta get one. And so Marcel was kind enough to go get it yesterday. But then I walked out of the building yesterday at like 11:45 at night.
Yep.
And it hit me. I was like, I have not left the building since 10 o'clock this morning. I've not been outside. I have not been outside. Like at 11:45, I did not go outside for 14 hours. Like,
Brent,
do people normally do that? That was weird.
In prison, maybe, but even in prison, you're getting some yard time. Give yourself some yard time, man. Get out there and see some of the sun, man.
What do you have to eat?
So anyway, Steph had been very nice. She packed me something. Like, it was like old school. Like Mom packed me a lunch. That doesn't happen very often. So Steph packed me a lunch. I actually got a workout in the office last night. But I don't know if it was because it was raining. Yeah, I got a workout in, man. Did a lot of push-ups and stuff.
Oh, so a prison workout. I like it.
I got the prison workout in.
There you go.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I was hoping nobody came in. But it was at like 10 o'clock at night. And so, and it just had like everything was stacked up, but it was also raining out. So it was really like, I'm not going to There's really no great reason to go outside. And it just hit me.
Yeah.
It's like, holy cow, I've been in here for 14 hours. That's nuts. And we don't have windows, by the way.
No, man.
It really is.
Like I said, Brent,
a jail cell.
It's not healthy, man. You get outside and get some of that yard time. You got to.
And I didn't play Pac-Man. I had it on my radar to play Pac-Man, but then I got tied up.
It was
doing
on the
something.
to-do list?
Oh, it was on. I was like, I'm definitely playing Pac-Man tonight. Because actually, Wax, who comes in here and plays Pac-Man, he got 121,000 yesterday morning. He came 1,000 away from my record. I was like, dang, I'm going to have to go back to work now on this thing. But he didn't get it.
Keep chopping. Wax, you got to keep chopping, man.
He's been grinding, don't worry.
He's been, don't worry.
Well, let's not rat him out. Let's not rat him out too much now.
He gets a lot of work done, too. It's fine. It's good. It's good for everybody's mental health. Okay, so the thing I came up with, I almost thought about doing, we have about 8 days left, so another week to go here in February. And I thought we should do like take a Lenardi's bracket, right? And see what he's done right now. And do like an early March Madness bracket. And we can call it the February bleep bleep bracket. Something up. February bleeped up bracket.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had no idea what you were talking about.
All right? Because it'll probably look a lot different in about a month.
You'd think so.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, that was one of the ideas that ran through my head. And I'm not saying we're going to do it.
I
thought it would be kind of fun.
Hamby, have fun. I mean, it'd be fun. I feel like it'd be a lot of work, but Hamby, have fun with that.
Why? How would that be that much work?
You're the producer. Produce. Produce what we want to do.
You know.
Like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing it.
No, that wouldn't be that. That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be that hard. You just you go print out a bracket.
I thought Brent wanted you to make the bracket of all the teams.
No, we can steal the bracket, but I want an open with it because it's got to bleep it out. It's got to have the effect.
I got
like Coach Driscoll was talking about. I didn't want to bring it up with him. I'd have to do push-ups.
Okay.
But
I got you.
So anyway, just a little spin-off on that. I thought it could be kind of fun because I was also thinking Shock Your Mock is around the corner.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we got to figure out Shock Your Mock this year. Are we doing a little bit different? How are we doing it? We got the 5th pick. That's different than the 17th pick, I think, is the Jags had last year. So, and I'm assuming that will start to happen after the players, which the players is the week of March 11th. Is that you going to try to find AI for us? You're going to try to produce this show up now? Since you got scolded. I kind of like that, too. So did Marcel. He's laughing over here. It's kind of crazy. As I was actually thinking about this yesterday, as I kind of poke fun at Hamby sometimes. He's actually been doing a really good job. And then he sent me an email yesterday and all the days he's going to be out for the next 3 months.
It wasn't that. I mean, considering
that's really not that bad. I mean, it gets bad like around wedding time and everything else.
Well, yeah, dude's getting married, Brent. You have to give him some time off.
Oh, how about this? I just saw Marcel's. I didn't know if he was reacting to our show or if he's mouth dropped for another reason. You can take like the big camera if you want to produce this up, Hamby, since I keep mentioning Marcel. And he just slid this over.
There we go.
Spurs announced Victor Wembanyama to miss the rest of the season with a blood clot in his right shoulder.
Dang.
That's no good.
Wow.
That's because they cheated in the All-Star game? That's what Marcel said. That wasn't me.
No, I know. I know.
So, well, there you go. That's a big story.
That's huge, yeah. Dang. I mean, it sucks, right? Especially but I wonder.
Yeah, is that a problem going forward beyond this year, right? Like you'd kind of wonder that.
Yeah.
Here's the deal about Wembanyama too. Like with all the NBA news of Luka and other things happening at the deadline, Jimmy Butler and the such, and I know people have talked about it. He's been awesome, right? I mean, he's been everything they said he was.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a fun guy to watch, and you never know if those guys are going to be as good, especially as touted from another country. And you know what it seems like, Austin, real quick on that? They're usually right. From Lucas to Joker to Wemby, I mean, they usually nail the European players.
Yep. And then you have a guy like Zion Williamson, who, yeah.
I guess my point is easier to get it right on the European player than the college player.
No, that's what I'm
right?
saying. Yeah. Well, I'm saying the Americans. Like Zion was supposed to be the next big thing, and obviously he can't stay healthy and everything.
Yeah, but Ja is.
Yeah, I know Ja is for sure. Is this true or not? Because I may have got on social media. Did LeVar Ball lose his foot, or is that just some kind of
his foot got amputated?
Oh wow, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he had to get his
real,
foot amputated.
Wow.
Can I ask why?
Because he swerved off the corner too fast.
we can't take anything seriously around here, can we? Dude lost.
I don't even know what he said, but I don't feel like it was appropriate.
We're cracking jokes.
I don't feel like it was appropriate. Like you're cracking jokes about this, and you're getting mad at me for saying Carson Beck has 2 cars.
Yeah, he took one of those cars and swerved off the corner too fast.
Hey, he was all smiles after he did get it amputated, apparently, though.
Yeah, do we?
Whoa,
okay.
Whoa. Oh my gosh, let's get out of here. I
man.
don't know if this is good. We gotta go.
Maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll be in the parking lot playing parking patrol.
5-on-5 game he could. 1-on-1, too big, too strong, never lost.
We got the River City Rumble tonight. We'll see you at UNF Arena, 8 o'clock. And good luck to all the soccer teams in high school and the boys basketball teams still alive playing in the state playoffs. We'll have all that for you tonight on CBS 47, Fox 30. Fleet and Footy coming up at 2 o'clock right here on the network. All you have to do is go to actionsportsjacks.com. Pick your favorite Catalan pose.
We got approved.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to. And they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans. And I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jags Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion.
After dominating all day,
This becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call.
life's a non-stop game. But with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jags 24/7 team to bring you our